May did a really nice job today going 6 against those guys. Pounded the zone. When he gets ahead, his stuff plays up. Eliminated all, walks is a big thing, but just controlling counts. You look at the fastball, 12 sinkers, 22 cutters, landed 18 of those. But he did a lot of positive things today.
Alongside Alex and T-Bone on BK, that was Ollie Marmol yesterday after the game talking on Cardinals TV about one of the biggest developments from yesterday's win for the St. Louis Cardinals. Dustin May appears to have fixed the issues that were plaguing him in the first couple of starts of the season, Alex. He was awful, like truly awful, to the point where I think he described his own stuff as being a bad word.
Oh, you can't say that, Dustin.
He came out afterwards and used a 4-letter word to describe how horrible his performance was to begin his Cardinals career.
Was it the S sandwich or the F-bomb?
I believe so.
Oh, unbelievable.
And over the last couple of starts, Alex, he's looked the part of a mid-rotation starter. That's what we were hoping for when they signed Dustin May via free agency is, hey, go out there. This guy's a lottery ticket. He's 28 years old. He really has not been a consistent starter outside of last year in his major league career. And last year he was pretty terrible, but that was coming off of like the injuries and then also the esophagus situation. And then he has the first couple of starts. Is like, oh boy, is this just never going to happen for Dustin May? Is this just who he is at this point in his career? It appears that there's something still in there. And in his last 2 starts, he's gone 6 innings in each of them, Alex. 10 hits allowed, 2 earned runs in total, only 1 walk over those 2 starts, and then had 8 strikeouts over that stretch. So he's still not a big swing and miss guy. I think yesterday he had a total of 1 whiff induced against Cleveland.
Good.
But encouraging nonetheless. And you extend that to what you saw at the end of the game. What they started with in the rotation, what they ended with in the bullpen. Oh, my God, is Riley O'Brien amazing right now. That guy has some of the best stuff of any reliever in all of Major League Baseball. He's been on fire to start out the year. So we've talked a lot about the issues that this team has with its pitching. It's all real. It's all true. But those 2 guys that were on the mound for you yesterday, I feel pretty good about both of them.
Well, and I can confidently say this about Riley O'Brien. Enjoy it this season because next year, as bullpen arms go, he's going to probably be the worst pitcher for you.
It's not going to be our problem.
Might be a very good thing to do. But look, the pitching has been the worst part of this Cardinals team in the early portion of the season. And it's a rebuild, so who really cares? But it's taken away a lot of the enjoyment because you think that the Cardinals, the comeback cards, are going to pull off another victory, and then the pitching lays an egg for you. So seeing Dustin May, I think the Riley O'Brien one for me is a lot more entertaining because when you can see a closer that's got that elite stuff,
oh yeah,
man, that's fun. Like Matt Swanson was fun to latch onto last season. So for Riley O'Brien, and the swing and miss, the ability to just command that game, that's the part that gets you excited. For Dustin May, it makes total sense. It's the first 2 games that you're playing with a new team. You got to imagine there's a little bit more energy going into it. So I wonder if that's part of it with him. I'm still not certain that everything is fixed with Dustin May to where everything is going to be all, sunshine and lollipops moving forward. The swing and miss is still concerning. Like, if you don't have that, I don't know longevity-wise what it's going to look like for a full season. But, if they could get this from the Cardinals or get this from the pitching staff for the Cards moving forward, it gives you a little bit of a better appetite for this season.
Yeah, the big thing for May is now he's finally attacking the zone, as you heard Ollie say in that cut that we played when we came back. That was his biggest problem, and BK had brought it up after his first 2 starts. I don't think it had anything to do with tipping. I know that was what a lot of people wanted to go to. That's just kind of the easy thing for people to say. Man, if you're not throwing strikes and then you have to come in the zone 2-0 a lot, guess what? You are going to get hit a lot harder. So I think that's the big thing for him now. He seems to be more on the attack. He doesn't have the swing and miss stuff, so I'm a little less excited about him because I thought he would play up a little bit more. But, if he can pitch like this, you're looking at like a guy that's a number 3. Now, how much will teams value that when we get to the deadline? We'll see, because that was kind of his purpose of being here, which was a high upside signing, and then you hope that he pitches well and you trade him at the trade deadline. But his last 2 starts, he's been very good and bounced back. And to your point on O'Brien, he's one of 21 relievers that qualify with a 0 ERA. JoJo Romero's in that category as well. He's been disgusting so far this year. They came into the season without a true closer, and they were going to go kind of like by matchups, mixing and matching. And I think we all agreed that was the right call at the time because no one had solidified themselves as that. you can plan on O'Brien being your closer now, or at least the guy that comes in and like where the game is on the line, like 1, 2, 3 coming up in like say the 8th inning, where all he likes to do that as we've seen in the past. But he is your defined closer at this point. He is the guy that you are, okay, we've got O'Brien for the 9th. Now it's a matter of how do we figure this out in the bullpen to get to him so he can lock things down.
Yeah, and that's helpful. I don't think you need every role to be defined at this point in the season, but knowing who's going to close out games, I think for A, that player, and B, the team can be useful. I do think there is still a scenario where, hey, that guy might not be completely off limits earlier in the game. So, like, you might go into a situation, I'll have to look at the exact schedule, but, like, if the Cardinals were to play against the Dodgers, for example, right? And they've got the heart of the order coming up, and you just want to shut it down. Yeah, fair. And you just want to shut down the potential damage. Let's say it's the 8th inning, runner on, you're up by 2. You might see him come in that situation, Riley O'Brien. But other than that, yeah, he's going to be the guy that closes out games for you, and he should. He's earned that opportunity for the St. Louis Cardinals. And so where things stand today, in an off day, going into the weekend, a series where they're going to be traveling down to Houston to take on the Astros, the Cardinals are 10-8. They're above 500 at this point in the season. It's been a minute. I think the last time that we have seen this was 2022, where they were 10-8 or better at this point in the season. And as of today, you're just on the outside looking in a potential playoff race.
Oh, no. Don't
Very
do it,
early.
T-Bone. Don't do it, T-Bone.
Where's that?
The reason I bring this up is not to like get you overly excited or to tell you that I'm getting out over my skis.
The rebuild is over.
At this point last year, you were 9-9. You were coming off of back-to-back series victories against the Phillies and the Astros, 2 teams that at that point in the season we considered to be legitimate contenders in Major League Baseball. Then they lost 8 of their next 11 games, and the season was effectively over. Does this feel similar to you, to what we saw a year ago, or does it feel different? Like, how would you describe how you're feeling about the Cardinals today, given expectations coming into the year, what we've seen so far, Alex, now that we're 18 games, about 10% of the way through the regular season?
When you say, does it feel a lot like last year, are you talking about the optimism you had early on in the season, or the way that the game or the season got away from them at the end?
However you would like.
I mean, I came into this with 0 expectation. So I don't really look at what they've done so far and be like, oh, man, look at what this is going to be. I think this is outperforming what I expected because I thought they were going to be the worst team in the NL Central. But I didn't expect them to go off and be one of the top 2 teams. Like, I look at the NL Central and say the Brewers and the Cubs aren't going to be this bad. And I look at the Pirates and the Reds and say they're not going to be this good. And that's where the Cardinals kind of fall right in the middle of this one. So I don't know if it gives me feelings of what last year was. Last year we were talking about it in the office. By about May, I was ready to be like, nope, not in on this, because there were expectations of being a playoff team. This is a rebuild or a build. So my expectations came into this of just enjoying what there was. So I don't really think it gives me any vibes of last year. It's just the offense is fun. The pitching's getting a little bit better. And I think you're going to float around 500 all year.
I think taking away what expectations were coming into the year, it does feel very similar to last year. To where you look at it, they're a little better than you would expect because they're not slugging. They're 21st in slugging percentage, and we know slug baby slug wins in the modern game. And then they're one of the worst strikeouts. Not one of the worst. They are the worst when it comes to strikeouts with their pitching staff. Welcome to last year, right? To where they were playing well, and I fell for it when we got to May because they went on a little bit of a run in middle of May last year. I'm not going to do that this year. You know, I don't think I think it's going to be a lot like we saw last season where it's, hey, they're kind of outperforming expectations. They're floating around 500. And then at some point they're going to go through a stretch and reality's going to set in of, okay, this pitching staff's not good enough. The offense isn't going to be able to score enough runs to make up for that. And they're going to go through a losing 8 out of 11 stretch. And then it's just going to sink the season to where they'll be sellers at the deadline.
Feels pretty similar. Feels similar in terms of like, I remember last year it did feel young and scrappy, and they were having these comeback victories as well. Even the games that they lost, they were really close for the most part. They had the extra innings losses against the Angels. They had an extra innings loss against Boston. Now, they did also have that Miles Michaelis loss against Boston. And
oh, yeah, that was bad.
if you guys remember, we saw very quickly, all right, that experience is going to get old very quickly. The Eric Fetty experience, that's going to get old really quickly. But overall, it was mostly like, Fetty stinks, Michaelis stinks. They have a Roycroft problem. They have a Fernandez problem. If they get rid of those 2 guys, they should be okay. This year, they have a talent problem. They're just not deep enough. They're not a well-rounded roster the way that many of the other teams across Major League Baseball that view themselves as legitimate contenders are. That being said, how many teams view themselves as legitimate contenders this year? I think that's part of the conversation that needs to be had, and we're not there yet, but eventually there just aren't many great teams in Major League Baseball. Have you guys seen the Central? Because it looks like it's flipped on its head this year. We're 18 games in, so it's extremely early, and the difference between the top and the bottom is just 2 games. But as of today, the Pirates and the Reds are tied atop the NL Central at 11-7. Then it's the Cardinals. Then it is the Brewers at 9-8. And at the bottom of the division right now is the Chicago Cubs at 9-9. It's a bizarro world right now in the NL Central. You look over at the NL East. I thought the Mets would win that division. T-Bone told me they were not a good team. He might be right.
You remember when he got mad at us when we said that after the Cardinals won the series?
I still think they will win the division, but as of today, the Braves are 12-7, the Mets are 7-12. Those are your leader and loser in the NL East. So it's a weird league. It's a weird start to the season. The only thing that makes sense really is that the Dodgers are indeed the best team in Major League Baseball so far this year. But beyond that, man, everybody's kind of in the middle.
I look at the expected wins and losses, and it tells you that the Cardinals are the bottom team in the NL Central.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they do say we should be a 7-11.
Yeah, and I think a lot of, and I'm not trying to be like Debbie Downer with it. I think a lot of the comeback victories that they have, we've talked about this.
And that's based upon run differential.
Yeah, it's hard to play comeback baseball for 162 games.
When the Cardinals win, they win close. When they lose big.
Yeah.
That's not a
sustainable model.
No. It also speaks to the
It's
bullpen,
an exhausting model.
Because when they're winning, they bring in the A-list guys coming out of your bullpen, and you feel good about it. And when they're trailing, they don't have, I think Derek talks about this a lot, and he calls them the chase relievers, right? You're chasing the game. They don't have those guys right now.
Yeah.
They don't exist currently on the roster, and so it's really hard for them to keep the game close. And they need a big, 3-run homer by Jordan Walker to be able to come back. And that's really the only place where those big crooked innings are coming from right now is Walker or Weatherholt in some scenarios. Very few, but some scenarios. They're putting the ball over the wall, and that's it. That's the way they get into those big innings.
Well, and some of that, too, yes, it is those chase relievers, but it's the starters forcing you to those chase relievers, right? Leahy's not been very good in his starts. Palante's been, if he made through the first 2, was not very good, so you had to go to those chase relievers. Your starters for a decent amount of the season, and they've been a little bit better here of late, but for a decent amount of the season, it's been, you look at your starters, you go, ooh, 5 innings, 4 runs, we're down 4-1. All right, I guess we do have to go to Justin Brule or Matt Swanson or Chris Roycroft. And then, to your point, that's when the game really gets away. But the starters are the one that start that snowball.
He's T-Bone, that's Alex. I'm BK. Coming up in 15 minutes, we're going to be joined by our friend, Blues analyst for 101 ESPN and FanDuel Sports Midwest. It's Joey Vitale joining us for the final time during the regular season ahead of tonight's game against the Utah Mammoth. Pregame for that one tonight at 5:30. I know Alex is thrilled about a 6:30 puck drop for the final game of the regular season.
Not pumped for the outcome of it, but pumped that it's at so early.
It'll all be right here in your home of the Blues, 101 ESPN. If you guys would like to get involved in the show, there are 2 main places to do so. 314-399-9646. That is the Air Comfort Service text line. YouTube chat is off and running. The Graveyard Chat at youtube.com/101 ESPN STL. Coming up next, yes, we are talking about Mizzou in the first hour of the show today because they currently have the #1 combined recruiting class in the country. Yes, our Missouri Tigers, #1 in the country. We'll talk about them, what they added to the roster next year on 101 ESPN. Hey, it's BK. It's time for you to unlock your inner champion. The best place to do so is with my friends over at Victory Men's Health. It's an incredibly easy process to get started. All you have to do, go to their website, go to victorymenshealth.com. When you get there, you book that first appointment online, put in your name, email, phone number, tell them BK with 101 ESPN sent you, and then tell them what it means for you to unlock your inner champion. That initial visit will include a consultation with a licensed medical provider. They'll do lab work for you. They'll find out exactly where all your levels are at for your testosterone, and then they'll talk to you about what it means for you to unlock your inner champion. Maybe it's weight loss goals that you're trying to meet. Maybe it's sexual health that you need some help with. Or maybe you just like to learn more about red light therapy programs, cardiovascular testing, or some of their vitamin infusion programs that they have at Victory Men's Health. Whatever it means for you, they're happy to help you out. It's all available today at Victory Men's Health. They have 4 great locations across the St. Louis area, and you can read more about them today at victorymenshealth.com. Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. Man, you can't ask for a better start to the transfer portal than what Mizzou has done so far. They've added Bryson Tiller today, Alex, the former Kansas forward.
Man. That
He was a
rivalry's taking
4 or 5-star prospect, depending on where you look. 6'10", 240 pounds, a big man that's added to the mix. They already added Jalen Carey from Tennessee to the mix, a power forward that's immediately going to help them in the front court. And Jameer Jones, a 6'6", 220-pound small forward slasher that can get to the rim as well as just about anybody in the country. He's added to the mix as well. This is after, Alex, they had already added a top 5 player in the country in Jason Crow Jr., via the recruiting class from high school. They added Tony Bryant, a top 25 player in the country, power forward, 6'9", 220 pounds, and Aiden Chronister, a shooting guard who's 6'7", a 4-star player in his own right, top 75 guy from Arkansas. So all of that is added to the mix. It now ranks as the #1 overall class in the country. #1, Alex. 2 5-stars, 3 3-stars, or excuse me, 3 4-stars, and a 3-star that have been added to Mizzou's roster since the end of last season. Now, if you're trying to figure out, okay, what does it all mean? How does this fit together? What's the plan here? I think as of today, your starting 5 is as follows. At shooting guard, Jason Crow Jr.
Come on, man. Put a little pizzazz in it. At shooting guard, Jason Crow Jr.
At small forward, the senior, Trent Pierce. At power power forward.
There it is.
I can't do this.
Hailing from Tennessee, Jalen Carey.
I thought his last name was
at the
Carter.
center position.
I don't know. I thought it was.
I think it's Carey. And at the
I'll look
center
it up, look it up.
position,
Just keep going, man.
the first ever transfer
It's Carey.
from the University of Kansas to the Missouri Tigers, Bryson the Killer.
Okay, come on, man.
Tiller.
Oh, damn, that's a good one. That was good, man.
All right, you might have noticed that I didn't mention a point guard there.
Yeah, I don't
They
think we have
don't
one.
really have one as of today.
Oh,
Now, Jason Crow Jr. can play the point, but you probably, in an ideal world, would prefer him to play off ball. He's a guy that you just want scoring. However that happens, you want him to be in that area. But, man, you've got Jameer Jones, who's potentially like in a sixth-man role coming off of the bench for this team. That's a hell of an upgrade. Tony Bryant, a top 25 player in this year's recruiting class, is probably coming off of the bench for this team. Trent Burns, who had some moments as a center for you, he's a reserve going into next year. That's a nice place to be. And then Chronister, who's a top 75 player in the country, I'm not even sure he's going to see the court once they get into conference play as a guard. So he'll have a very limited role potentially to be able to develop in the right path. This has the makings, Alex, of the kind of team that we were talking about yesterday should be expected going into the season is a second weekend team, a Sweet 16 contender. That's the kind of talent that currently exists on Missouri's roster. Now, we've talked about them in previous years, and they have been very deficient at one roster spot. Where you look at the roster, you're like, all right, looks pretty decent. Point guard, shooting guard, small forward, maybe even power forward.
Damn, we forgot the center.
What about center? Like, you don't have anybody that can play that spot. And it always feels, honestly, it's a lot like the Cardinals, where you're a man short. You're one spot short. My concern right now for Mizzou is, what's the plan at point guard? And that's a really tough spot to be a spot short. Point guard is, once you get to March, I typically circle that position and say, if you don't have a guard that I can trust, I'm not picking you to get to the second weekend. I just can't trust you as a team. That is where things can go awry, especially as you get into late crunch time situations. So I'm a little nervous about that spot on the roster. But Alex, if they have a plan there, and they've been pretty damn good so far at having plans at other positions, even guys that we didn't know they would potentially be in on, including Jalen Carey, T-Bone.
It is Carey.
I feel pretty good about where they're at right now. There's a lot of pressure, though, on Dennis Gates. You better be right. You better get this team to where it needs to go because the talent's there. The money was clearly there for them. They've done a hell of a job so far in recruiting.
Yeah, they have. And I mean, you address one of your massive things, which is getting bigger and better underneath the basket, which was an area that really hurt them down the stretch last year. I would still be a little concerned about not having the point guard, but I'm kind of on the same line of thinking that you are. You can't have all of this success and not have a plan at a very important position at the point guard spot. So the funny thing about all of this is, as excited as you get about this roster for Mizzou, this puts all the pressure on Dennis Gates.
Absolutely.
And right now, if you're Dennis Gates, and I have to imagine if you're in a head coaching position in college sports, you like that pressure, you have to perform. Because this will be the season that if you underwhelm with this roster and this amount of money being spent on the transfer portal, you're as good as gone at the end of the year. Because this is the team you should capitalize on. You're right, BK. Just like I think it was last year, we had the expectation of Mizzou to take that next step in football. You're a second weekend team in college basketball now for Mizzou because of what they just accomplished, with the potential of one more move on that point guard spot.
Yeah, as long as you get that point guard spot right, they feel like a team that should be a second weekend team. I'm 100% with you there because as BK was announcing the starting four, they've got some depth this year, right? I mean, that is some good depth to have. You mentioned some of those guys that will be coming off of the bench. And as you saw with the teams that went late into the tournament, and we knew this from the local standpoint because Illinois got there, they were running 8 deep. And that's about what you got to do in the modern game. You got to be about 7 or 8 deep off of that bench. And if you can solve this point guard spot with whatever they decide to do there, you're talking about a team that could potentially go on a run if everything kind of clicks together and these guys end up being what we are expecting.
And I don't know if it's this player or somebody similar. I do wonder if maybe there's a T.O. Barrett reunion that could be had. Because if there is, like, maybe they decide Jason Crow Jr. is the starting point guard. And we're just going to go about it that way. Worst case scenario, they decided it's not working the way that we were hoping. Maybe he's better off ball. And they put T.O. Barrett back into the starting lineup. And there's less asked of him this year. And he can make it work when you have Jason Crow Jr. and Trent Pierce and Carey and Tiller and Tony Bryant and Jameer Jones, like all of these other players that can take some of the load off of him from a scoring standpoint. Maybe that's the way they're able to make it work. So whether it is actually T.O. Barrett coming back to Mizzou or somebody similar that can give them an insurance policy at the position, I think that may be the direction that we see them go. My guess is they've spent most of their budget via the transfer portal on big men this time around, and they're going to have to go bargain shopping more so at the point guard position. And they're just putting all of their chips in the Jason Crow Jr. basket and saying, hey, we believe in this kid. We think this kid is going to be a top 10 player in the country. We think he can be for Mizzou what Keaton Wagler was for Illinois this past year, but better. And I know that sounds crazy, because Keaton Wagler was awesome for Illinois. The expectation coming in is that Jason Crow Jr. should be the kind of player that's in the conversation for Player of the Year next year. That's how good he is expected to be in year one at Mizzou. This is a guy that broke like all of the scoring records out in California, a legit top 5 prospect in all of college basketball. There are basically no questions about his game. On the offensive side of things. Defensively, there are real questions. On the offensive side of things, though, no questions. And this is also why I like what they're doing with the big men. If you have questions about him as a defender, how do you clean that up? How do you make sure that that deficiency is not as exposed to the same degree? We'll have dudes that make it tougher to get to the basket against him, right? Like if I've got Carey and Tiller and Burns and Bryant that are all standing at the basket and all of them are 6'10" or bigger, that is something that can be a deterrence from guys getting to the rim, and that could potentially really help you. This Bryson Tiller thing, man, this is huge. This is an absolutely massive get for them. It's the first time really in the Dennis Gates era that we have seen them go to the portal, target a big man that is a legit player, not like an afterthought. This guy is a top 25 player in the transfer portal right now. And for them to be able to go out there, target him, immediately be in on him, win the bidding war against the likes of Miami, who's got deep pockets, and Arizona, who he had a trip planned to go to, and then canceled it to commit to Mizzou. Yeah, man, I know Kansas fans are a little wishy-washy on whether or not Tiller's a good player. I don't give a crap what Kansas fans think about this player. I care that the rest of college basketball viewed him as a big upgrade on what they have at the power forward.
Between he and Carey, I mean, like that completely changes the dynamic of underneath the basket for Mizzou to where, I mean, that's been
the best front court they should have in the Dennis Gates era.
Yeah, and that's just been the weak. That's been the area we've complained so much about over the last few seasons is like they can't get rebounds. They're not dominant underneath. And now they finally have two guys that can do that.
Yeah.
T-Bone? Any thoughts?
No.
You jealous right now? Because Mizzou might be better than Illinois next year.
No, that's ridiculous.
Suck it, T-Bone.
I just want to pinch your guys' little cheeks for how cute it is. You guys are finally back here on the big stage.
I prefer you
know?
don't touch me.
Finally getting some top-end recruits at the high school level, now actually playing with the big boys in the portal. It's finally nice to see that you guys are going to make bragging rights meaningful again. It's nice of you to show up for a change for the big rivalry game in St. Louis.
It's going to be a hell of a lot of fun.
What's your natties taste like? Oh, that's right. Sorry.
Alex, we're not allowed to say
really?
that.
Why, man? Really? Are you really talking
our
trash
team
after
hasn't been to the
going
Final Four.
home?
This is the
first round.
That's all right. It's okay. I can say whatever I want.
Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. Joey Vitale next year on 101 ESPN.
Tanner Hendrickson here with a SportsCenter update brought to you by Universal Windows Direct. Blues back in action tonight as they wrap up the regular season as they visit the Utah Mammoth. We'll have pregame coverage starting at 5:30 with Alex Ferrario. Puck drop at 6:30 with Chris Kerber and Joey Vitale. And the Cardinals yesterday took down the Cleveland Guardians 5-3 as they take 2 of 3 from Cleveland. They are off today. They'll be back in action tomorrow night when they start a 3-game set at the Houston Astros. The SportsCenter update was brought to you by Universal Windows Direct. You'll be saying, I love my windows.
Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. Happy to go out to the Kiley and Thompson hotline to be joined by our friend, the Blues analyst for 101 ESPN and FanDuel Sports Midwest. Joey Vitale joins us now on BK and Ferrario. One final time during the regular season, Joe. The finale for this 2026 campaign is tonight. How you doing, my friend?
Joey! One last time, Joey Vitale!
I'm gonna miss you, boys. I'm gonna miss the Joey chants. They get me going every week when I'm down in the dumps. But maybe I'll call in and bug you guys this summer whenever I want, just to get the Joey chants going again.
Please do.
Anytime.
How's Salt Lake City this time of the year, Joe?
Cold. I don't know. Like, it's fine.
Better than Winnipeg, right?
Yeah, it's better than Winnipeg. Listen, it's April. It's April. People who travel for a living, they get this. It's like we could be doing a game in Bora Bora in the Polynesian island in the middle of the Pacific. I'd be like, it's fine. I mean, the water's fine. It's just a long season, right? I mean, you get it. If you don't travel a lot, like you're like, whoa, you're in Salt Lake. You're in a great hotel. Everything's wonderful. It's just a long year, man.
It is, and it's feeling very long right now, Joe. Now we're looking. I don't know if you're doing the same thing, but I'm just looking at the draft standings. I'm like, wait, they're 10th? When did that happen?
You mean as far as picking number 10?
Yeah, what the hell? They were 3 like a week ago.
Well, it's funny. Like, I leave this to my algorithm partner, the MICDS proud grad, Chris Kerber. He was actually he gave my kids a Star Wars book yesterday on the flight. We're going to figure that out.
Oh, God. What are we doing?
Not happy. He has it all figured out, though. If you don't mind, entertain me for a quick second. Here's the situation. Have you guys talked about the situation yet, Alex?
We've talked about it off air. We haven't gotten it on air because we figured we would do it with
Joe,
you. So
we talked Mizzou basketball and Cardinals baseball so far. So you're our debut Blues segment today. So go ahead.
They shut me down at this time of the year, Joe.
Yeah, I don't blame them. All right, with Florida winning yesterday, this is what Chris Kerber said. With Florida winning yesterday, if we lose tonight in regulation, we get the 9th pick. Then if we lose in regulation and San Jose gets 1 point, we have the 8th pick. Tiebreaker, of course, goes to regulation wins, If we win in any fashion and Nashville loses in regulation, we then have the 11th pick. It sounds like we could go from anywhere from 8th to 11th, depending on how things go here tonight. I'm in Utah. It's a 5:30 local time, so there's our local start time tonight, rather. So there's no morning skate. I have not gotten wind of the Utah Mammoth roster or what they're putting out for a lineup yet. They are locked in, right? Everyone knows they are locked in for their first round, so no questions there. So will Bill Armstrong, will Andre Tourney, the head coach, rest up his regulars and give them a little bit of a breather before Utah's very first playoff game coming up this weekend? Or do they do what the Dallas Stars did last night in Buffalo? And I'm watching the Stars game. I couldn't believe it was their last game of the regular season as they're opening up their series against Minnesota this weekend in Dallas. And I'm watching Jamie Benn, and I'm watching Jason Robertson, and I'm watching Bork, and I'm watching all these guys just going out there and playing hockey. Jake Ottinger started in the game. It's wild. So you've seen coaches go both ways. I say that because it's going to have an impact probably in tonight's game based off of if the Blues can easily pick up 2 points like they did over the last 2 games against a B roster in Minnesota and Pittsburgh, or will it be a little bit more of a challenge tonight if Keller and Schmaltz dress for this game? As we know that they have been they've been tormenting them ever since you go back to the Arizona days. So a lot's up in the air, but to make it simple, from what I understand, based off of wins, loss, regulation, overtime, shootout, whatever, the Blues can get up to an 8th pick or fall as low as an 11th pick based off the results here tonight.
Now, Captain Obvious statement, not having the 3rd or the 5th overall pick, it just sucks. How much of a difference, though, because Blues fans see 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and they're like, oh, man, you got to get the 8th overall pick, the 9th overall pick. In the grand scheme of things, how much does that matter for this Blues team?
Well, I mean, at this point, if you're not picking top 3, I've always kind of thought that, the top 3 to 5, that window, I mean, those are the elite players, back in 2015, we used this draft a lot, but, that was the McDavid, it was Strome, it was Jack Eichel. I mean, all those guys fell in the top 3. You look at the elite players like the Celebranis right now. We saw New Jersey earlier in the season with, Jack Hughes and Nico Hischier going number 1s over Wall. I mean, those are the franchise-changing players. This McKenna character, can he do that? It sounds like he can. Right, you're looking at what Schaefer has done in New York as a 1 overall. I mean, again, these are 1 overalls, but those top 3, Alex and BK, those are the ones that I would consider your franchise changers. The Kirill Kaprizovs, the franchise centerpiece picked up in the 5th round. That just doesn't happen, right? That's once every blue moon. So, how important is this? It's kind of up in the air at this point. I think between 8 and 11, certainly the lower you go, the better your chances of getting one of those elite players. Dalibor Dvorsky was kind of around this window. We all see what he's doing now. But Jimmy Snuggerud was a little bit after that, right? So he was kind of a later first round. So, and you see what he's doing now. So it is kind of a little bit of a crapshoot. It changes year to year. But I will say, from a player standpoint, from a coach's standpoint, this is all off the table. Jim Montgomery doesn't care about this. He's being paid to win hockey games. These players are being paid to perform. So you look at the game here tonight, how do these players play it? That's the big question. Do they play to lose? Does the coach give opportunities for others? I mean, listen, they're being paid to win. And Jim Montgomery is going to put the best lineup out there. He's going to put the top power play unit out there when they have a power play. And he's going to put the best killers out there and the goaltender that he has the best chance of winning tonight. So it is up in the air, again, between 8 and 11. Not too big of a difference at this point. But you look at where they were, Alex, Curbs and I, you were all texting this morning, but look at where they came from to where they are now. I mean, 20 games ago, they were in a spot where they were picking third. I mean, that is so wild about the push they had put on, where it was the same push they put on last year where they get into the playoffs. So you love the push, you love the competitiveness. Unfortunately, this year, they not only fall a little bit short from the playoffs, but they've probably dropped realistically 7 to 8 spots based off of the performance of down the final 20 games here.
Thankfully, they picked the right team to trade with for the Justin Falk deal because Detroit has also fallen out of the playoffs. They have been eliminated, and right now their pick is sitting at number 15 overall. If they were to win the lottery, it would then push Toronto down to 6th. Toronto's pick would be transferred over to Boston because of the deal that they made last year.
Not just them. If any team wins the lottery,
right?
But
I'm just saying, like, in the blue scenario, you would get the 5th overall pick from Detroit and then the 11th or somewhere thereabouts for the Blues as well.
Or both win the lottery, Joe, and you get the first overall pick and the 5th overall pick in the lottery.
And Toronto gets screwed.
Yeah.
It could happen whenever Toronto can get screwed. I'm all for that. So that's very clear. And it's interesting. I know that a lot of these teams. I was with a couple guys from the Vancouver Canucks. Neil Komodowski's a scout for Vancouver. I saw him at the game the other day, and we talked about what this kid could be for Vancouver if Vancouver does get that number 1 overall. Vancouver, who has never had a number 1 overall pick, which is wild to me. 2 months ago, we were in the booth with Curbs. We were kind of going through the situation when the Blues were kind of picking around that 3rd spot. And we looked at Vancouver about how many number 1 overalls that they had, and they haven't had any. Even the Sedin twins were picked 2-3 all those years ago. So, is it Vancouver's year? I certainly know that, the people of Vancouver are pulling for that, as what a train wreck Vancouver has been over the last 2 years. I mean, 2 years ago, you're getting over 100 points. Everyone's flying. The franchise is heading in the great direction. Then you trade JT Miller. So many different coaches are coming in and out now. The fan base is just squirreling all over the place. So it could be their year as well. So we'll find out here early May, Alex and BK and Tanner, because that's when it's going to be set, and we'll have more answers then.
All right, Joe. We'll be looking forward to it. Maybe we'll reach out to you right around that time and catch up once again, talking some Blues hockey. We appreciate the time as always, man. It's been an absolute pleasure to be able to catch up with you each and every week here on the show. Enjoy your time out there in Salt Lake City and enjoy your downtime. We'll talk with you again soon.
That sounds good, boys. You guys give me a call anytime, really. I'm happy to hop on with you guys anytime. Love your show. Love what you're doing. I'll be listening all summer. Keep bringing the heat. Keep bringing it to the people. And you guys have a great summer as well.
Best. See you, buddy. Joey Vitale joining us here on 101 ESPN. One final time for the regular season in 2026. Appreciate him hopping on, as always, here on BK and Ferrario.
I will say this. Staying in the top 11, if they do fall to the 11th overall pick, one, you still have a chance at the lottery, and two, Scott Wheeler's rankings over on The Athletic, there's 12 guys there's 10 guys in tier 2, because there's 2 in tier 1. You're not getting tier 1 unless you win the lottery. There's 10 guys in tier 2. You're going to get at least somebody in the second tier of this draft no matter what. Yeah. So, and then from there...
Well, unless you're 11th and then 2 of the teams behind you win the lottery.
That's very true. Then you get pushed to 13. Didn't really think about that damage control. Thanks a lot, a-hole. Really appreciate that. Oh,
I mean, that's highly unlikely. But
I hate
possible.
it, and I understand, but like Nashville scrapping all of their guys tonight, San Jose probably scratching most of their guys tonight, and then Utah scratching most of their guys most likely.
Sit down 2 of your guys.
Well, yeah, but
2 of our best players. We should send divorce.
Too late. 2 weeks too late on that one.
Dude, all they had to do was not win 3 in a row. That's it. All they had to do was not win 3 in a row to finish out the season. And right now, like, if they had lost those 3 games, they just did what Winnipeg did, which is the correct way to tank. Mm-hmm. But they're an honest tanker. The Blues don't go about this.
They reward ethical tanks in this draft. The Blues will win the lottery. You watch.
If the Blues had lost those 3 games, you're looking at the 6th overall selection right now.
Yep. It's fine. They're going to win the lottery, and you're going to get the first overall pick.
Where's the draft this year?
It's decentralized, but I believe
is it decentralized
it's
again?
Buffalo.
They're doing that?
Yeah. I believe it's Buffalo.
Okay, well, we wouldn't go anyways. Coming up next, 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line. Questions and answers here on BK and Ferrario. 314-399-9646. That is the Air Comfort Service text line for questions and answers from the 314. Alex, what's the next step that Philip Broberg needs to take before he's in contention for a Norris Trophy consideration?
I don't know if he's ever going to be in the Norris Trophy consideration. You got to put up 70 points to be in the Norris Trophy. I saw one of those analytics sites, I don't remember who had it, but they were going off of like if there was the defensive defenseman award that was given out, they had Broberg ranked 6th on that list. So you're never going to be in the Norris conversation unless they change the way that they vote on that, what they're not going to. His next step will be more success on the power play. And I also believe that if they get more guys that can score in the second and third tier of your offense, Broberg could be putting up more points. It's just you lose the assists when guys aren't able to put the puck in the back of the net. But I think that guy is a 10 to 12 goal scorer and can give you probably about 40 to 50 assists in terms of a peak team. It's just a matter of you got to get guys that can put pucks in net.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think it's the points. That's the problem. The leading defenseman this year in points, Evan Bouchard, have you seen how many points he's put up?
He should win the Norris. If you're going off of that.
92 points.
Holy crap.
I don't think he's a great defenseman, but they give the award to offense.
I know you're not familiar with this game, but Zach Werenski has put up 81 points this year.
Who is he, by the way?
Yeah, he's a defenseman for the Columbus
at
Blue
least from the
Jackets.
last
So they
time-
stink. They should probably trade
Yeah, I was going to say, the last time I heard that their coach basically said that team is crap, so that guy can't be good.
Lane Hudson, who's like 12, he
looks
has
12.
78 points, and he's a plus 36.
That guy's good. He should win it.
Rasmus Dahlin has 55 or 75 points. He's a plus 18 on the season. Chikrin having a really good year this year for Washington. Plus 20, 60 points, 26 goals as a defenseman this season. 26 goals.
And I don't remember him
That's
being
Cale Makar territory.
I don't remember him being that high of an upside offensive guy.
He has been in Washington.
Really?
When he was with
I remember
Arizona,
him
he
being
was.
just viewed as like the big body, more
no.
defense
He had
than
18
offense.
goals in 56 games in the COVID
That's
season.
why we talked about him so much, because we wanted him in St. Louis, because that's what Broberg we thought would get to before they got Broberg. So yeah, I think Broberg probably tops out is like best at about 60 points.
Reason I bring all of that up, that's what he has to beat. Like, think about how great he has to be defensively in order to even be in conversation with the guys that I just mentioned there. It's just such a high bar to clear. So I don't think it's realistic, but that doesn't mean he's not a good player.
No.
He's just a different player than some of those guys. I do think they should create a new trophy for best defensive defenseman. I mean, they have the Selke, so why not create a trophy for, the defenseman that is really good defensively?
Curbs and I have always made this argument, and this is like when Eric Carlson used to win the Norris Trophy. It's like, yeah, he's putting up incredible numbers, but the guy doesn't play the penalty kill.
But I'm okay with that. I'm okay if you want to have the Norris Trophy be that.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
That's fine.
At the time,
but you need to create something new to reward the guys that are playing a different style.
Correct.
Right?
That's the whole point. It's like you can sit here and gleam about the offensive defenseman, but if you're going to hand out an award for a defenseman, you need to give it to the guys that are actually playing the role of a defenseman too. So,
all right, from the 636, do you guys think Victor Scott will steal at least 30 bags this year? Yeah.
Didn't he do that last year?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say
if the dang guy would just try and start stealing when he gets on base.
I think the 60 that we talked about on opening day looks ridiculous now, but I think he's definitely going to be 30 plus. I think he's going to settle in between like 40 and 50.
From the 636, guys, rumors are swirling that T.O. Barrett might come back to Mizzou. If he was in the portal from a different team, isn't he exactly what the Mizzou Tigers would be looking for in the portal? Kind of. I would like to see more shooting. He's not a great shooter. He's kind of similar to what they have in Jameer Jones, just smaller and playing the point guard position. That being said, they need a point guard, and there's not a ton of guys that are going to be available for the price that they're probably able to spend right now at the point guard position. So if he's willing to come back and he's closer to what they were willing to offer than what he was previously asking for, I think it'd be a fine addition. And to me, it would just say, all right, their plan going into next year is Jason Crow Jr. is their starting point guard. And T.O. Barrett's going to be a guy that plays 20 to 25 minutes a game instead of 30 to 35 minutes a game. And I think that's fine.
Yeah, I think to the texter's question, I think he would fit that. I think to your point, I think it's two things. One, You probably would prefer one with a little bit more shooting because, as we were talking about off air, that could potentially be the bugaboo for this Missouri Tigers team in this current build.
Agreed.
But the other part, too, and if he's coming off the bench, I don't know that this would matter as much, but at times he can be erratic. And what I mean by that isn't just the shooting, it's the turnovers. Like, remember, I think it was the SEC championship game where he, like, gets the ball and he, like, dribbles and he's, like, stumbling the whole time, and then he just loses control of it and, like, basically hands it to the Kentucky guard. That's the kind of things that you don't really want from your starting point guard. If that's coming off your bench, you're fine with it. But if that's what your starting point guard is doing, yeah, you'd like to upgrade on that a little bit.
From the 618 guys, when is Ivan Herrera going to start hitting again?
Never.
Didn't he just hit a home run yesterday?
He'll be fine. We'll talk about this more coming up next, but he's...
Was it 2 days ago?
0% concern about him. From the 636, if Jordan Walker continues his torrid pace, how well in the standings will the Cardinals need to finish in order for him to be in the MVP conversation?
Does it matter?
I don't think it matters anymore.
I was going to say, if that dude hits 40-plus home runs, you're going to be in it no matter what.
Yeah, I don't think it matters in today's game. I mean, Shohei Ohtani was on the Angels, and he was in the MVP
Paul
conversation.
Skeens won a Cy Young on the bleeping Pirates.
That
You
stuff just...
believed in them.
I do, but I'm saying last year's Pirates.
I do
You
think
believed in that team.
Once upon a time, I think voters kind of cared about that stuff.
Yeah.
Is how does your team do? And maybe some still view it as a tiebreaker if it's close. But if Jordan Walker finishes the season with an OPS above 1,000 and he's playing quality defense in the outfield, which is what he's been doing so far, yeah, he'll be in the conversation.
Yeah. And, like, just even with that, like, even for some riders, if they are looking at, like, are they a playoff team or where are they at in the standings, you'd have to look at Walker's numbers. And my assumption is if he keeps his pace and is in this conversation, the Cardinals win a handful more games than what most people were expecting. Right? I'm not saying they win like 83 games, but many people may have thought they were going to lose 90. If Walker has a great year, there's a chance they lose like 85 instead.
Alongside Alex and T-Bone on BK, it's 12 o'clock. Your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Hey, you can join TMA for the return of the Dotem Golf Tournament. That's coming up on May the 15th. It's at Oak Valley Golf Course and Resort, and it's all presented by Cutwater Canned Cocktails. You can get your foursome together. You'll join Tim, Martin, Doug, and Jackson for a day out on the course. It does include breakfast from Donut Drive-In, lunch from Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken, an after party with food from Texas Roadhouse, and you guys know how much I love me some Texas Roadhouse. All your Cutwater canned cocktails and Anheuser-Busch beer and seltzers. Alex, big fan of their seltzers.
Big fan.
The 100 West Dental closest to the pin competition, and the Evergreen Wealth Strategies longest drive competition. All of that and so much more is available for you at the Dotem. You can find more information at 101ESPN.com. Registration opens tomorrow at 8 with a portion of the proceeds benefiting Birdies for Bipolar. Coming up in 15 minutes, we'll dive into some NFL quick hitters, including the latest on the number 2 overall pick, which seems to be where this draft really begins. Sounds like it's down to 2 players. Which direction is it most likely to go? We'll talk about that in 15 minutes. But next, the Cardinals are bringing small ball back, baby. Let's talk about it here on 101 ESPN. The Cardinals are bringing small ball back. This is something that was highlighted earlier today over on MLB Network. I know T-Bone was watching the segment. Alex, I did a little of my own research last night.
God, hold on. Let me get my pillow.
You ready?
Yep.
So the Cardinals yesterday put all of this on display, whether it was stolen bases, a bunt to get on base, moving runners over, ultimately getting them in. It was 90 feet at a time to score a few runs, scratch across just enough to beat the Cleveland Guardians. They beat Cleveland at Cleveland's game yesterday.
Suck it, Guardians.
And this is what they've been doing all year. The Cardinals have more bases taken this season, Alex, which is a real stat that they do track over on Baseball Reference, which includes fly ball outs, passed balls, wild pitches, etc. More bases taken this season than any other team in Major League Baseball. In fact, the gap between the Cardinals with 34 bases taken and the second place team in Major League Baseball, which is the Reds with 22, is the same as the gap between the Reds, second best in baseball, and the Padres, who are 27th. So the Cardinals aren't just the best at this. They're doing it in a way that no other team is. They also have 26 productive outs so far on the season. That is most in Major League Baseball. Leads to those bases taken.
What's an unproductive out?
So a productive out would be like runner on
second one
fewer
out,
than two outs, and you move them over.
Gotcha.
Or runner on third, fewer than 2 outs, you get him in. So that's a productive out.
So Nathan
You're moving
Church-
runners over or moving runners in.
So Nathan Church not knowing what the count was when he caught that ball in the run scoring was an unproductive out?
It would have been a productive out for the other team.
Yeah.
Okay.
An
Does that make
unproductive
sense?
mistake by him.
Gotcha.
It would have been an error for the Cardinals.
Yeah, I'm opposite on that one, yeah.
The Cardinals are also top 5 in scoring a runner from third this year with fewer than 2 outs. This is something that drives a lot of Cardinals fans crazy when they do not accomplish it. There's a runner on third. There's 1 out. All you have to do is get the ball in the air. Well, guess what? This year, they're one of the best teams in baseball at doing that. They get that guy in at an extremely high rate. Now, when you do this stuff, it is productive. It also leads to fewer crooked numbers, because when you're getting these productive outs, it means you're not hitting a bunch of doubles or hitting a bunch of homers, right? There is a trade-off by playing this style. So far, it's working for them. They're 10-8 on the season, and they're playing the style that they set out to do coming into the season. They said in spring training, this was the plan. And so far, the process is leading to good results. Alex, what has been your interpretation of it? How do you feel as you were watching them play this style of baseball?
I feel as if they're developing an identity, which I know probably is an identity that Cardinals fans don't get excited about, right?
I would actually say the opposite. I think most Cardinals fans love this.
Well, it's funny, though. Most Cardinals fans have been asking for Whitey Ball for a long time, but I feel like the biggest complaint I see is, well, there's no power on this team. There's no power on this team. Like, it's what T-Bone always talks about, right? Home runs are fun. They're sexy. And this team, although Jordan Walker's been hitting them, nobody else really is. They're scoring runs off of these productive outs that you're talking about. I'm fine with it, because for the longest time it felt like the Cardinals really didn't have the identity. They flirted with this whole, like, we've got a lot of power, but it never really showcased itself, and they were trying to figure it out. I also think it's a tough way to win baseball games when you're in a rebuild. So as fun as it is right now, watching this and seeing that Whitey-esque ball where you're moving runners over, you're scoring them with some squeeze plays and whatnot, that well runs dry when you get deeper into the season and exhaustion sets in. But if you keep to an identity of elite defense and you get guys that are always aggressive on the base paths, it's how you make something out of nothing with a roster that looked like it was destined for 100 losses.
Yeah, I do think this stuff matters, but I don't know how much it matters for them this year. And what I mean by that is, I think if you're going to be a contending team, you have to be a smart, high IQ baseball squad. And for as much as we talk about the Dodgers and their star power, they are that. They are very good when it comes to fundamentals. And now, I don't know what their numbers are when it comes to like moving guys over, but when you just watch the Dodgers, they play a smart brand of baseball. And the reason that I say I think this stuff matters is, once you get out of this rebuild, and this is why this is important that they are setting the tone on this now while they are starting to build this thing back up, You want Scott to be doing, if he's here when they're back in their winning ways, what he did yesterday, which is tagging on a fly ball to right field at first base. The throw goes a little bit off the line, and he advances to second base because it just goes a little bit off target. And then when there's the next batter that comes up in singles, boom, 2 runs come across the score of it rather than 1. Why I say I'm not sure it matters for him this year is because they don't have the power, they don't have the slug to be a great lineup, which is what would be required, and they don't have the pitching either to win. But I do like the fact that they are trying to set the tone on this right now in year 1 of this rebuild of, hey, we are going to do the little things right, and it may not lead to a bunch of wins this year, but as they start to get back into this competitive cycle, and you've got guys like Weatherholt and Walker and Herrera and Scott that are doing all the little things right, that will pile on to make them a great baseball team.
So on the bases taken side of things, right? Again, this is bases advanced on fly balls, pass balls, wild pitches, defensive indifference, that kind of stuff. I'm going to read you off the teams that were at the top of that category in Major League Baseball last year, okay?
This is still going to go against what I say, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
The Brewers.
He's doing it on purpose.
Right.
The Dodgers.
Okay.
The Yankees. The Cubs.
That fits what I was
Feeling
saying.
good.
actually.
Phillies. The Padres.
What's
the
wrong with this?
Rays, the Guardians, the Diamondbacks. That's the top 10. I missed one. I'm sorry. Number 1 in Major League Baseball last year was the St. Louis Cardinals.
Oh, so it
What
doesn't
I
matter.
would say this suggests is well-coached teams. All those teams that I just mentioned there, I think they're pretty well coached for
Yeah,
the
that
most
was,
part.
what, 7 of the 10 playoff teams?
Yeah, they're well coached. And when there is an opportunity to take an extra base, guess what? They do it. Like, if there is a wild pitch, they're getting off and they're running. If there's a pass ball, they're getting off and they're running. They're taking that extra 90 feet because you're giving it to them. And so if you're going to give it to us, we're going to take it, right?
It adds more stress to a pitcher.
100%. That is something that last year the Cardinals were excellent at. And so the reason I bring this up is because this is the kind of thing that I agree with T-Bone. I think you're 100% correct. When you have the correct roster, if you continue doing these things, if you implement all of this stuff right now and it becomes fundamental to who you are as a team, it will pay off for you over the long haul. Right now, I don't think it's going to show up the rest of this season necessarily in the wins and losses as much as you'd like it to, because you don't have that power. You don't have the swing and miss pitching the way that you need in order for this stuff to really matter. But when you're also not only winning on the margins, but you're winning at the big important stuff, like the home runs, that's the stuff that we see it every year in the postseason. The team that out slugs the opposition, they're going to win. Why? Because it's really, really hard to take these extra bases or to single somebody to death once you're going against only the best pitching in the world and you don't see the underbelly of the bullpen and you don't see a 4 or a 5 starter at any point in the postseason, right? That's when the slugging really starts to take precedent. But if you've got that slugging and you're doing this other stuff, this becomes the winning on the margins, where you go from winning 90 games to 95 or winning 82 games to 87 games and getting that opportunity to get to the postseason. So I don't want to diminish what this is in terms of its importance. It's really important. It's just not the biggest thing in the world. This is they do all of this stuff and they're able to move runners over. The other thing that I would say is this year, you look at what they're doing in terms of the productive out stuff, they're pretty damn good at it. Last year, they were not. Last year, this is actually something they really struggled at. And a year ago, the teams that were the best at making productive outs were the Diamondbacks, Padres, Cubs, Brewers, Blue Jays, Nationals. That's an outlier. Mets, Phillies. It's playoff teams. And then the Nationals in there. The Cardinals getting better at that, I think, is a good sign that they are focusing on the right things right now. And then it becomes do you have the dudes? The answer is probably no. Yeah. But if you've got all of this stuff going in your direction, I think it's a credit to the coaching staff. It is a credit to Daniel Descalso and John Jay and Ollie Marmol that they're leading them in the right direction.
And I go back to a comment that I believe it was J.J. Weatherholt had, and it was early in the year, and I don't remember who it was against, but he hit a sac fly, I think it was. And I remember him saying, yeah, Brant Brown told me, let's not do too much. Let's get the ball in the air, right? And you saw that yesterday. I mean, he hits that sac fly with the bases loaded into right center field. He doesn't do too much in that situation. He gets a pitch that he can just do what he needs to do, which is make sure you get the ball in the air. If you make an out, that's fine, long as that's a productive out. Yep. And I think you're really seeing that. And to your point, yeah, they don't have the dudes like the 30 home run, 100 RBI guys yet, But you see that they've got good situational hitters that are doing that. Burleson is a guy that looks like he can, okay, I need to put the ball in the air. I can do that. Weatherholt, I got to get the ball in the air so I can bring home that runner from third. I can do that. Herrera, he's able to do that as well. And it is a little thing, you're right, but it is an important factor for these teams that are contenders, right? I mean, you mentioned the Dodgers. It's the little things that they do. Yes, they have the dudes, but man, they do everything right to just continue to add on that pressure, which is so important in the game.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, to me, it's not something that's going to win you the World Series, but it's something World Series teams have to have in their DNA. And I hope that they're establishing it now so that when you get those guys like Baez or Rodriguez or an outside piece, then you can put together the DNA of a World Series team.
I'll read you off the players that had the most successful productive outs last year in Major League Baseball. Geraldo Perdomo, he was in the MVP conversation.
This is when somebody's going to be like, oh, he's great.
Luis Arraez, that makes sense. Stylistically,
Yeah.
that's who he is. Michael Harris, Juan Soto, and Mookie Betts.
Now that one checks out, too.
Yeah. These are guys that you would think of coming up in these big spots. They find a way to do the job that is necessary in any of those situations. They also do damage, but if they're not able to, if they get into a count where it's, 1-2,
I got to protect.
Exactly. Go get this guy home. Right now, for the Cardinals, by the way, Geraldo Perdomo is once again at the top of the league.
Just brought this one up, though. I was going to say, has anybody looked at Perdomo, though?
What do you mean?
He hasn't been very good offensively.
Oh, he hasn't?
Everyone was like, oh, MVP. This is because who did we comp him to?
J.J. Weatherford.
Yeah, and I was like, because he's hitting
But he's
194.
making productive outs, okay?
He's hitting 194 with a 307 on base percentage.
Give it
It's
time.
early.
Yeah, give it time.
I think he said Bud.
For the Cardinals this year, do you know who leads them in productive outs this year?
The Cardinals, I'm thinking Weatherholt.
I was going to say
He matches
Weatherholt.
my eye test.
Weatherholt or Walker.
Nope.
Is it Wynn?
Nope.
Burley.
Yep.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Alec Burleson has the most productive outs on the Cardinals this year. He
Makes
has
sense.
5.
When Weatherholt's on, he's at like second.
There are 2 other Cardinals that have 4 productive outs this year. Can you name them?
I'm sticking with Weatherholt.
Nope.
Damn it.
I'm sticking with Walker.
Nope.
Okay.
Is Pajes one?
Nope.
Herrera.
Scott.
Herrera is one of them. Victor Scott is the
Because
other.
he's bunted.
Yep.
That's why I thought Pajes, because I've seen him
Nathan
try and bunt.
Church actually has 3 of them already.
Okay, well, your whole productive
And Thomas Ajacey
out
has 3 as
segment's
well.
done.
Who had, okay, anybody have 0 on the team?
I'd have to go through and
Mason
check.
Wynn.
But
Oh, you were, okay, I thought you had like a long list in front
Mason
of you.
Wynn would have 0.
I think he's done it too. Because like I was even thinking
Jordan
like,
Walker has 0.
that.
Ramon Urias has 0.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, that
Jose
one surprises
Fermin probably
me.
has 0.
Let me check on Mason Wynn, how many he has real quick.
I was like, because I was even thinking like Pozo's done productive out before because I've seen him hit it the other way and get the guy over.
Mason Wynn has 1.
I feel like Wynn's
What's
done it.
Fermin got?
I don't know. There's like thousands of players.
Come on, man.
Hundreds of
you
players.
You can't bring up the productive out and not tell me what he's got.
I have to go through individually
This
to
is
see
what
all of these
decides
things.
if we keep Fermin.
If you're going to do a nerd segment, I need you to do full nerd.
All right, let's see where Jose Fermin is.
It's 0.
Jose Fermin, now I got to
He's
scroll
got
back
like
up
8
to the
at
top.
bats. I mean, it would be hard.
He does not have 0. He does have, he at least has 1 because I can
Alright.
see where he's
He's
at.
got more than Walker. That's amazing to
Well,
me.
Walker doesn't have productive outs
Because he doesn't need them.
Well, and the funny thing about Walker now is he doesn't hit the ball on the ground. He hits it
Fermin
in the
is
air.
1. JJ Weatherholt has 2
Gorman?
so far this year.
Again, don't do a nerd segment and
He
not
has
nerd.
2. He has 2 productive outs and 8 opportunities to do so.
This team's going to win the World Series. That's what I've learned in this
In 5
segment.
years, yeah.
No,
yeah.
no, right now.
Jordan Walker has 4 opportunities for a productive out. He has 0
Because he
cashed
hits
in.
it in the ball every
Yep.
time.
He also has not grounded into a double play in 13 opportunities so far this year either, though. So
I'm actually kind of surprised by that because he hits it so hard, but
He's
I guess
fixed.
he's so fast.
He's fixed.
he's doing pretty well so far this year, I would say. But yeah, the Cardinals doing all the little things the correct way. Speaking of doing the little things right, Ivan Herrera. I know there's a lot of people freaking out right now about his start to the season. It hasn't been great. He's batting 195. He's slugging 290. Like, it's not a perfect start to the year. You'd rather it be better. He has 18 walks in 18 games so far this year, guys. 18 walks in 18 games. That is extremely rare, to the point that actually no Cardinal has done that in the first 18 games since Albert Pujols in 2006. So it's been 20 years since we've seen that. And if you just want to go like last decade in a non-COVID season, what Major League Baseball players have done this? It's a very rare feat. He's one of like 6 to do so. It's him, Marcell Ozuna, Jake Fraley did this in 2021, interestingly enough.
That's surprising.
Joey Gallo, and then beyond that, it's Mike Trout.
Gallo did it too?
Gallo had a really good eye. He just struck out all the time as well.
Can you have a really good eye and strike out all the
hit
time?
The ball, can
He
you have a good
walked
eye?
like crazy. The guy, I mean, he was the three true outcomes guy.
It's like saying a hockey player had a really good shot but never scored a goal.
So in 2021, Joey Gallo walked 111 times and struck out 213 times.
Oh
He
my
hit
God.
200
Good
and got
God.
on base at a 350 clip. Yeah.
Quite the profile.
Other guys that have done this: Mike Trout, Freddie Freeman, Bryce Harper. Pretty good list. He's going to be fine.
Why didn't you start with that part of the list?
He's going to be fine. Just give it some time. Right now, the fact that he's taking all of these walks speaks to the fact that nobody wants to pitch to him. They're pitching around him, and I like the fact that he's not expanding his zone. He's staying patient, saying, like, honestly, kind of similar to the conversation we just had about what the Cardinals are doing. He's basically doing that. He's saying, I trust the guy behind me. Now, should he? I don't know. But he is, and I'm glad he's doing that so far, and I hope he stays with that approach.
As long as Burley keeps doing what he's been doing, which I know it feels like Burley's been kind of, you wouldn't really feel this way, but he's 27% above league average. As long as you keep Burley and Walker going like they are 3-4, teams are eventually going to have to start pitching to Herrera because otherwise they're just putting a free base runner on base and then gift wrapping that for your 3-hole and cleanup hitter and Walker, who's been one of the best hitters in the first month of the season. So he's going to get pitches to hit. And when he does, this is why I've been saying, like, I'm actually optimistic about what this offense could look like this year because he hasn't done anything yet.
Yeah, think about that. He could go on a tear sooner rather than later. Like Gorman at some point, I know it's awful right now. And
That
like,
one I'm less confident in. But
Gorman's going to go on a run. I don't know when it's coming. It might not be
Here's
for
the
another
thing for
6 weeks,
Gorman.
but Gorman's going to go on a run for 4 weeks where he looks like one of the best players in Major League Baseball.
And then
now,
you guys will buy
can
into it.
determine what you buy into during that stretch, but it's going to happen at some point where he goes on a heater.
Here's the thing
It's
for
coming.
Gorman, and this is why I'm not as optimistic about it's coming for Gorman. Last year he would go on heaters, he didn't hit for power. If he's going to go through these stretches, I'm fine with it. But when he gets hot, he better hit the freaking long ball.
Yeah,
and he didn't do that the last 2 years. So that's why I'm a little skeptical that we're actually going to see it from him.
Yeah, I think it's going to happen again eventually. I don't know when
We're
it's
going to
coming.
be awesome as a
Both are
lineup.
going to buy into it and be like, oh, Gorman's fixed. Here it comes.
I don't know if all of this will happen simultaneously, though. But the nice thing about having a bunch of guys that have this kind of upside is that at any given time, Walker could carry the offense, Herrera could carry the offense, Burleson could carry the offense, Gorman could carry the offense, and it's the starting point of what could be a pretty interesting offense. It's the starting point, though. We need a little bit more time.
You also have to have them all at the same time. Not
That'd be nice.
one and then three guys not
Well, that's how
hitting.
you end up going on a Royals 2015-esque playoff run. But I don't think we're there.
you might need
Alongside
elite
Alex
pitching
and
for
T1
that,
on
too.
BK. That's correct. Coming up next, time for some NFL quick hitters, including who the number 2 overall pick is likely to be this year. It sounds like it's down to 2 players. Who do you think it's more likely to be? We'll talk about that next year on 101 ESPN. Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. You guys want to talk about some of the betting odds for the NFL draft?
Yeah, sure. I'm a
love
betting
betting.
We're a
man.
week away from the NFL draft. I think this is a way that maybe here in St. Louis, people will at least have some interest in the draft, right? Because not everybody has the same team. And T-Bone, we were talking about this a little bit ago. It's not a sexy draft.
Yeah.
If you're a neutral fan and you don't really have a team that you're following, I don't know how much buzz there's really going to be from this year's class. Maybe afterwards, for fantasy reasons, you have interest in, where Jeremiah Love goes, where Mekhi Lemon or Carnell Tate goes, stuff like that. But beyond that, it's just not all that interesting. But you've got betting. And maybe that's something that could keep you interested. Right now, number 1 overall pick, they basically aren't even giving you odds. It's Fernando Mendoza. Everybody knows that.
I hope the Raiders go something else just to surprise everyone.
Dude, that would be an all-time smokescreen.
They go like edge.
If they do. Can you imagine?
No, they
take
go
like David
outside
Bailey, number 1.
They go outside linebacker.
Ty Simpson, suddenly it's like, oh, wait, no, he was the number 1
my
quarterback in
God.
the class.
Orlovsky was right.
Number 2 overall is really where this class begins, though. And there was a report earlier today. It's down to 2 players. David Bailey, the defensive end out of Texas Tech, and Arvell Reese, the outside linebacker / edge rusher. People have compared him to Micah Parsons. He's kind of that classic. He played linebacker, but can be an edge rusher as well. Right now, the reason I'm bringing this up, the one place that I can find odds on this stuff is over on DraftKings, so just heads up. David Bailey is -115. Arvell Reese also -115. What that means for those that don't do a lot of betting, you have to bet $115 to win $100 on either of those 2 guys to be the number 2 overall pick. This has gone back and forth depending on who you believe. Bailey is the one that got a lot of the buzz over the last couple of weeks. Do you guys have a lean on who you think the number 2 overall selection will be to the Jets?
I think it's going to be David Bailey.
I do too.
I think they want production right away. I think they want a guy that can come in and provide them the ability to get sacks because they were like the worst team in NFL last season on it. I think David Bailey's going there.
I do too. I go Bailey because he's got the proven production. He was tied or led FPS in sacks last year. I think they go with that over Arvell Reese because there's just a little bit more development to his game.
Number 3 overall selection is the Arizona Cardinals. Now, this is a pick that's going to get a lot of talk as a potential trade-back destination. No. Ty Simpson, if you want to bet on it, is 18 to 1.
Oh, my. So much money, T-Bone. $1,000 on it right now.
The top selections right now for number 3 are basically the top selections for number 2. It's whoever's left over.
Yeah.
So they've got Arvell Reese at +140, bet $100, win 140. David Bailey at +165. Beyond that, though, it's Francis Mauigoa, the offensive tackle out of Miami, at 6 to 1 odds. Jeremiah Love at 7 to 1 odds. And Sonny Styles, the linebacker from Ohio State, the other linebacker from Ohio State, at 11 to 1 odds. Do you guys have a lean for number 3 with Arizona?
I think Arvell Reese makes the most sense on this one, mostly because he's got a little bit more development in him. And if you're the Cardinals, you could be bad. You could get the potential of Micah Parsons. And then hopefully next year you've got a number 1, number 2 overall pick and can go get the quarterback.
I think that makes more sense than going tackle, especially when you really have no idea what your quarterback answer is. Maybe it is Simpson. Like, if that's their plan to either trade back into the first round or draft him early in the second, like, then maybe you go tackle. But right now, I'm with you. I would lean you go edge.
We're all on the same page so far. I think number 4 is where it might get interesting. The Tennessee Titans have the number 4 overall pick. They have Brian Daboll as their offensive coordinator. Their new head coach is Robert Saleh. The current favorite at even money is Jeremiah Love, the native St. Louisan, former Notre Dame running back. At 5 to 1, it's David Bailey. At 6 to 1, it's Sonny Styles. Also Arvell Reese at 6 to 1. And then you've got Ruben Bain and Carnell Tate at 10 to 1 odds. Do you guys have a lean with the number 4 overall selection right now?
Where's the odds
buying the Jeremiah
I'm
Love?
not buying the Jeremiah Love hype. Where's Caleb Downs in terms of odds?
35 to 1.
Is that surprising to you?
No.
I only thought of it because
safety top 5.
but they're making it out to be such an elite defensive player that it's like if I'm Robert Saleh, I want to go get as much defense style as I can. So I was thinking Caleb Downs, but those odds would tell differently. So I'd probably say Sonny Styles.
Maybe put a few bucks on it, right?
I mean,
35 to 1 odds. If you have any kind of a lean, like, hey, I think people are wrong. I think that they're not looking enough at Caleb Downs as the best defensive player that could be on the board there.
$1 wins 35.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just, again, I don't know as much, but it's just I'm looking at it thinking Robert Saleh wants to make his defense elite.
I think this is a class where you can do stuff like that. Where, hey, maybe People aren't talking about it today. And after it, people will probably say the same thing that you are right now, Alex, which is, hey, man, he was the best defender on the board. They want to be able to build this defense around the identity of Robert Saleh. I don't see a problem with it.
I just, because like if for Sonny Styles, linebacker absolutely would make sense in that front. But man, I'm just thinking like when you look around and you think of those secondary pieces that are core pieces of a roster, if I'm the Titans, I got my quarterback. You've got a running back already, which is why I just don't know if they go get Jeremiah Love.
That's why I'm going Sonny Styles.
Yeah.
I think Sonny Styles is the pick there because he comes from San Francisco where he had Fred Warner. The number one player comparison for Sonny Styles, Fred Warner. You go back to what he was able to do or what he tried to do when he was with New York. They signed some big-time linebackers when he was there as well. I think he values that position. Yeah. He sees the kind of impact that can have for your defense. I'm going to go Sonny Styles at 6-1 odds. I think that this whole Jeremiah Love thing is a smokescreen. I don't think they're doing it.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think Jeremiah Love goes until you get to the Browns-Cowboys pick.
I was going to say, if he doesn't go there, I have a tough time figuring out where he's landing. I mean, Browns, I guess, but I don't really know what they're doing. I mean, that would fit the Browns.
I think somebody trades up with the Browns to get him.
How about the number 5 overall pick? You want to go there?
I don't think he goes to the Giants.
Well, let's talk about this. The number 5 overall pick, the odds. Sonny Styles at plus 175. Caleb Downs at 3.5 to 1. So we just talked about it. Crazy to be a top 5 pick. Apparently not. They have him as the second most likely pick at number 5 overall to the New York Giants. Francis Mauigoa, the offensive tackle out of Miami, is at 4 to 1, and then Jeremiah Love plus 550, Carnell Tate at 10 to 1, and then it gets a little longer odds. A couple of offensive tackles and
I'd
corners.
go Carnell Tate. I think they need a number 2 receiver to play with Malik Neighbors, and I think you need that with your quarterback running back style. Like their defense isn't awful, although it could use some upgrades, but I think I would go a wide receiver in this spot.
I think they correct a wrong and they get Jeremiah Love. I think their owner, do you guys remember their owner being in the meeting with the GM when they let Saquon walk and he said, man, I hope we don't mess this one up. They messed it up. They then see Saquon Barkley go to a division rival, win a Super Bowl with them, and now they've got Cam Scatterbo, who you can't trust that guy to stay healthy. Look at the way he's playing.
But he's great.
Jeremiah Love could come in and be their Saquon replacement. I think Jeremiah Love is the pick at number 5 overall to the Giants.
I'm not buying
on
Love
that.
to the Giants. I think it's more likely Tate is a Giant because I agree with what Alex was saying. I think it's either Tate or that offensive tackle from Miami. Upgrade your offensive line. You've got your quarterback. You've got a number 1 receiver. You've got a running back in Scatterbo. Now, it's fair to question the health, but I think that guy is still a stud. Upgrade your offensive line or go out and add a second receiver if I'm them. And now I get the hype too because you think back to the teams that Harbaugh had with the Ravens recently. What did he have? He had a dominant running game. So I can understand that, but I just look at that and say I think they're going to upgrade more on either offensive line or at wide receiver than look at running back.
A few of the others real quick before we get to the other side and talk about the Blues' young talent. Number 6 overall pick right now is the Cleveland Browns. They seem to be telling everybody we want to trade out of this pick. So maybe these odds are not about who the Browns are going to take, but who somebody's moving up for.
That's who I think Jeremiah Love goes to, whoever trades for that spot.
Jeremiah Love right now is 25 to 1 odds for the number 6 overall selection. So you can get some good odds on that.
Man,
Carnell Tate
4, 5, and 6 for me. I'm going to win money.
Carnell Tate is at plus 175. Sonny Styles at 4 to 1. Spencer Fano, the offensive tackle out of Utah, plus 475. Monroe Freeling, the offensive tackle out of Georgia, and Francis Mauigoa at 6 to 1, the offensive tackle out of Miami. So they're looking offensive line or Carnell Tate basically as the most likely selections at number 6 to the Browns or to whoever's jumping up. I don't know Washington, New Orleans. The favorite right now is Ruben Bain. The favorite right now for Washington is actually Sonny Styles. Him and Jeremiah Love are both plus 250, so 2.5 to 1. Number 9 overall, Kansas City Chiefs. Who do you guys think is the favorite to go to number 9 right now?
Ty Simpson.
I would.
Why are you the way you are?
Well, you got an aging quarterback, man. I would say it's a wide receiver. If Caleb Downs is gone, I would say it's a wide receiver.
Nope.
So is Caleb Downs not gone? Is it Caleb Downs?
This is just the betting odds, so it can be whoever.
Is it a tight end?
Nope. Ruben Bain, 3 to 1.
You're going to get tiny arms?
T-Rex arms out of Miami. Guy that was awesome in the playoffs. He scares the hell out of me. He's awesome, but I don't know what to do with that kind of a profile. It just traditionally has not worked in the NFL.
I think they take a wide receiver.
After that, it's Mansour Delane. cornerback out of LSU at 5-1, along with Spencer Fano, offensive tackle. Jordan Tyson, he's been getting a lot of buzz lately. Arizona State wide receiver at plus 650. Francis Mauigoa from Miami at 8-1. Caleb Downs. I would put a little bit of money on Caleb Downs.
No, man, I already put it on him going to the Giants.
9-1 odds. Monroe Freeling is another one. I'd put a little bit of money on him at 10-1. Kenyon Sadiq, your tight end, at 10-1.
Stop it.
Sonny Styles at 14-1. Makai Lemon at 18-1. I think he's interesting too.
I like it when you whisper.
I think Makai's a ram.
Keldrick Falk at 40-1. Man, things get really wild after that.
Yeah, we're real wild.
You want to do your Rams real quick, T-Bone?
Yeah, who they got?
Too bad we can't. They don't have it.
Why are you the way you are?
I love the way both of you are.
So, how'd that go? Good?
Isn't Jordan Tyson, by the way, a tiny guy?
No, he's got tiny arms.
That's what I'm thinking of. Okay, I
This is
thought
the
there was
tiny arm
something with him
draft.
that was tiny.
Dude, everybody in this draft, either you're a premium position and you're an outlier at the position because of something physically, or you're a non-premium position and it's
You're
like,
a
yeah,
stud.
but you're a linebacker. You're a safety. Like, what are we going to do with this? Yeah, it's a really weird draft in that regard. I'm excited for it, but that's because I care about what the Chiefs do at 9 and 29. If you don't have a team,
I think the only thing
know.
that can make this draft exciting for me is if we start to see some trades. Trading up in, like we were saying, like in that Cleveland spot. Also, like there's names out there like Dexter Lawrence, for example. I guess A.J. Brown's being traded to the Patriots. Like if that kind of stuff happens on draft night, okay, now we're talking, right? Now we're talking about a draft that suddenly looks a little bit more exciting.
BK's ass sweat says on the text line, T-Bone's going to wink at BK again.
I know you guys got some weird things you do. Wink, you whisper. T-Bone said something a little bit ago that made me uncomfortable.
What?
I don't remember what it was. Said something about, and I said, "Don't touch me." It was weird.
I don't think.
Luckily, I don't have any weird things I do on this show.
No, you've never done that, huh?
No, never.
Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. Coming up in 15 minutes, it's time for the junk drawer. But next, have we overestimated the Blues' young talent, at least according to one list? Maybe. We'll talk about it next here on 101 ESPN.
Tanner Hendrickson here, the Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. Blues back in action for their regular season finale tonight as they visit the Utah Mammoth. We'll have pregame coverage starting with Alex Ferrario at 5:30. Puck drop at 6:30 with Chris Kerber and Joey Vitale. And yesterday the Cardinals beat the Guardians 5-3 as they take 2 of 3 from Cleveland. They are off today. They'll start a 3-game set at the Houston Astros tomorrow. 7:10 will be first pitch. Kyle Leahy will be on the mound for St. Louis. The Sports Center update was brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin heating and air conditioning dealer.
Omaha. I don't want to shortchange your Blues segment, Alex. We're going to go a little short here.
You're literally shortchanging it then.
Segment.
We'll
I
do
came
that
up
coming
with
up
it.
at 1:30.
Trash.
I would rather talk about these old timers.
Get the hell out of here. This is a junk drawer segment.
So the NFL just
names.
announced the
Huh?
players
I
that
know
will be
these guys.
making selections at the 2026 NFL draft. So the old geezers that are coming back to announce some of these players. And when I say old geezers, I mean guys that we watched when we were young, Alex.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
And I'm realizing
I'm an old
that
geezer.
the mid 2000s for T-Bone are like, for me, the early 90s. And
considering that the early 90s are 30 years away since
Yeah.
for us.
it's terrifying because we said Deion Branch and T-Bone was like, who's that? Like, he won
I
a
still
Super
don't know
Bowl and
what
was
team
the
he plays for.
MVP of the Super Bowl. And he's
Raider.
like, yeah, I don't know.
Raider.
No.
No.
Who would have won a Super Bowl while you guys were young little puppies? Because I remember there's that.
We said this already off.
I think
We did?
I think you're thinking way too much of us being young when they won a Super Bowl.
I'm trying to podcast because we've got a Red Bird report to record today.
Hold on, but
He's a two-time
Saint,
Super Bowl
Saint.
champ.
No,
It's
you're,
just Saint.
no,
Oh,
you're
man.
acting like this happened when we were like 3. We're not that young when this guy won a Super Bowl.
That
We
doesn't help
were
at
like
all.
15.
When you guys were 15, I was like in diapers. I have no bear.
Nope. So he won a Super Bowl with the Seahawks, won the Super Bowl MVP, though, with the New England
That was a
Patriots in
forgettable
2004.
Seahawks one,
I actually
but-
remember
The
more.
Patriots was 3 out of 4. It was a dynasty.
Yeah.
That one is memorable.
The dude was like a legend for the Patriots.
They had a guy named Tom Brady. Bring him out for the pick.
He was not the. He was a very good player on those early teams. Those early teams, though, won because of their defense. It was Bill Belichick.
And Tom Brady can't come out for their pick because he's coming out for the Raiders pick.
Other guys that are going to be announcing their selections. O.C. Umenyiora, speaking of early our
No
lives.
clue.
Really?
Yeah, no clue. Who?
Really?
Yeah,
Do you remember Justin Tuck?
not really.
Do you remember
Love
Michael
Justin
Strahan
Tuck.
as a football
No,
player?
I've always known him as like the host of Good Morning America or NFL analyst.
We are old.
I know, that's what I've been trying to say to you, old
Do you
farts.
remember Jerome Bettis?
I remember him from The Office.
The bus stops here in
Was he- I
Detroit,
know
won the
name.
Super Bowl.
Was he the running back for the Steelers when
There
the
you
year
go.
Kerry won?
Yep.
Like, I kind of remember that because my dad's a Cardinals fan, so I remember that Super Bowl. That's probably like the first Super Bowl I can kind
I
of
remember him from The Office when Michael tried to get him to come party with him and Dwight in his hotel room.
Do you remember Curtis Martin
No clue.
I don't
That makes
remember
sense.
that one.
from the Jets? Brian Westbrook? He's like
Name
a modern
familiar.
running back before what we've
Yeah,
seen.
name's familiar,
He's like
but
Christian
no.
McCaffrey before Christian McCaffrey, not to
Yeah.
the same degree.
He's
though.
Jake Westbrook's brother.
Yeah, no. That's what I was thinking of.
The
He
local
got a good
tie.
sinker?
The Rams legend that's going to announce their pick. Any guesses? L.A. Rams legend
I'm
going to go
thinking-
back
I
to
hope it's
announce
Sam
their selection.
Bradford.
I'm thinking like Aaron Donald. That'd be a guess
No.
of mine. Oh, man, if it's not him.
Andrew Whitworth.
No,
Ooh,
good
that's
guess,
a good
though.
guess.
I like that.
They're not
who
going to
else
have
would
any
have
St.
been?
Louis ties.
Yeah, Todd Gurley?
No.
No, I said no St. Louis ties.
Nah, he was only here for like
Eric
a year.
Dickerson.
No.
Man, that is old. I have no idea.
I'll give you
if
one
it's
more guess. He's a former first-round selection.
Tavon Austin?
Tavon Austin is the answer.
Get the hell out of here.
He's the correct
That
answer.
is a terrible decision.
2013
Why do we take,
first
like, one of
round
our biggest
selection.
busts ever?
Tavon
Did he even
Austin
play with the
is
LA
announcing
Rams?
the pick. I can't imagine.
He didn't play with the LA Rams.
I don't think so, because I think Fisher cut him before they went to LA.
What a stupid decision. Was nobody else
Oh,
available?
he did. He played for the Rams for 2 years. Had 500
Wow.
yards for the LA Rams, actually.
That's
wow, what a season.
Crazy.
Oh my God.
That's crazy.
That's embarrassing. They should trade that pick.
I remember how excited I was when the Rams drafted that guy. I'm like, oh my God, they finally got a weapon. And he's a weapon, all right.
Dude, that was one of the worst.
Those West Virginia teams, dude. Oh my God, they were fun.
I remember thinking at the time, because I remember when he got drafted. Because what year was he drafted, Tavon?
So you don't.
2011?
2013.
No, 2013.
Okay,
I
so
was
that
at
makes
Lindenwood.
sense. Yeah, I would have either been, I think I would have been either 8th grade or a freshman in high school. And I remember when they made that draft, and both me and Madera were like, I don't know if this guy's going to translate. He's so tiny. And like, we've got Jed Fisher as our head coach where we just want to run the football. And we were
Well,
right.
he did run it.
Well, yeah,
That's all he did.
he ran it, but
all he did.
Terrible. And then I remember, and then the worst part about it all is then Sean McVay makes the same stupid mistake and drafted Tutu Atwell a couple of years later, which was
They
basically
should
the
have
same
had Greg
dude.
Robinson announce the pick. Remember Greg Robinson?
I do.
Guy was good.
How long did he play for the
He
Rams?
didn't make it to the LA Rams.
I don't think he did.
I don't think so.
I remember
either.
that pick too. I don't think he was there very
Who
long.
was that cornerback?
He played for 1 year
with the Rams.
LA
Wow.
Yeah.
And then who was the cornerback that you guys
was probably-
signed?
that was last year.
Who was the
disaster.
other offensive lineman? Wasn't he a fireman or something that they drafted? That literally, I think he played for a year with the Rams.
I don't
I remember that.
God, what was his name?
This was absolutely.
Quit whispering.
This was a junk drawer segment, by the way. Can't believe you Omaha'd my Blues segment.
God, what was that guy's name? Who am I thinking of? Jason Smith.
That is
Jason Smith, number 2 overall selection in 2009. He played he started 26 games in his NFL career. He was the number 2 overall selection.
Really? I don't remember him at all.
Yeah, for a reason. He
apparently.
played basically the equivalent of 2 years in the NFL and then was just gone.
Wow. Yeah, I don't remember that at all. I agree with what the 314 said. They should have called Danny Amendola. I agree. That was 1 or 2 memorable years as a Ram.
Man, so this 2009 draft, man, this was a memorable
Danny
one.
Amendola is more memorable for the Patriots, I think.
Oh, sure.
2009 draft when Jason Smith went 2nd overall. Matthew Stafford was the number 1 overall pick that year. Aaron Curry, do you remember Aaron Curry? Number 4 overall selection. You probably don't, right?
I don't.
Aaron Curry was the linebacker he's the reason why I'm so scared of drafting off-ball linebackers in the top 10. He was supposed to be a can't-miss prospect. Like, if you want to guarantee that you draft a Pro Bowler, draft Aaron Curry. He's amazing. He's big. He's fast. He's, like, productive as hell. There's no way this goes wrong. And it went very, very wrong.
He was
Who
supposed to
drafted him
be
at 4?
Seattle.
Yeah, he was supposed to be like Chandler Jones in terms of like how elite, big, fast he was, and
He could do everything.
Yeah.
And then he played 3 years in the league, was out.
I
He's
don't remember
gone.
him at
He
all.
played 2 years for Seattle and was traded by year 3. It was crazy. Mark Sanchez was the number 5 pick that year. Darius
some
Hayward
moments.
Bay, remember when they took him number 7, Oakland Raiders? He's just fast. Did nothing else, but he was fast.
kind of like
Was he a
Tavon.
receiver?
Yeah,
kinda
wide
like
The
receiver.
name's
Kinda like
familiar. I
Tavon.
can't.
Michael Crabtree, do you remember
I
him?
remember him, but I remember him mostly from
49ers.
his big moment at Texas Tech when they upset Texas.
Josh Freeman, quarterback from Kansas State.
He was a
Big,
first-round pick.
He was Bucks,
strong.
right?
Yeah,
Yep.
Bucks
Oh, my
player.
God.
Was actually had one really good year for the Bucks, and this would have been 2012. Had 27 touchdowns, 17 picks. 2010, 25 touchdowns, 6 picks. Threw for 3,500 yards. And
I
then just
remember
was
him
like
as a-
never heard of him again.
I remember him as their quarterback. I had no recollection of being a first-round pick, though.
Yeah, that was a weird draft. Jeremy Maclin went 19th overall. Clay Matthews
Clay Matthews
went 26th overall in that year's draft.
Dude is a nightmare.
Yeah, was not a
beautiful
very
long
good
flow.
top 10
I
though.
know.
That
He
year
and
in
AJ Hawk, man, watching that hair.
the following players went in the top 10 that year: Jason Smith, Tyson Jackson, Aaron Curry, Mark Sanchez, Andre Smith, Darius Hayward Bay, Eugene Monroe, all in the top 10 that year.
I don't
Aaron
recognize, like,
Maben
half
went
of
number
those names.
11. Noshawn Moreno, running back, went 12 overall that year.
Yeah, I'd say that was one of those drafts that everybody probably would like to forget about.
Yeah, I would say that is correct. Larry English went number 16
English is his
overall.
brother?
Larry English had 12 career sacks. as a defensive end.
Never heard
Tebow
of it
could do
before.
that.
Yeah, not great. All right, coming up next, Junk Drawer here on 101 ESPN. Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. It's BK and Ferrario here on 101 ESPN. I've got a couple of things here for the junk drawer. First of all, Alex just announced Top Gun 3 is officially in the works.
Don't care. I didn't like Top Gun 2.
Really?
Wow, really?
Yeah.
I've still never
That is
seen the
a
first
very
Top
hot
Gun.
take. Really?
I didn't like it.
Did you like the original?
Oh, love the original.
What did you not like about the second?
I just felt
Maverick.
I felt like they were trying too hard to just get another Top Gun movie.
That's how I feel about this one.
Yeah, I'll say wait till you see the third one.
Yeah, that was one of those movies you don't need to make more of. You just need to leave it
I
as
didn't
is.
mind. Well, I can't
I
really say
loved
this.
Top Gun Maverick. I thought it was outstanding.
Well, you told us in the office you loved the scene where they were all playing without shirts on.
I thought they did a really good job with it.
Yep, see? You told us that.
I thought Top
When
Gun
did that
Maverick was
happen?
great. It didn't. Yeah. I don't think they need a third one, though. I think you got everything that you needed to accomplish. It was Val Kilmer's final movie. It was the return of Tom Cruise to the series. You were able to use him as like the, spoiler alert, the teacher, and they have the tie-ins there, and then they have
The shirtless scene
son.
on the beach. Oh,
Yeah, but they had that. Like, they have a bunch of references to the original. You don't need a third.
We were just talking about this because T-Bone asked about Back to the Future 2. It's playing behind us right now in studio, and I was like, I didn't really like the second one. I thought the first one was incredible, and it's one of those movies that it's just a cash grab to
I've
get
still
more.
never seen the first Top Gun, but I could see where you don't need a third one.
Hangover.
right from the
Definitely don't need
second
a
one.
third.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I'm with you there.
Hangover was another one. Don't need a cash grab. Why are we doing this anymore? Leave as
Second
is.
thing, so yesterday I'm doing the Invisalign stuff right now.
And we're just going into your head for the junk drawer today. Like, these two don't correlate with each other.
No, correct.
Okay.
I'm doing Invisalign right now, right?
Yeah.
So it's a whole process. I've got I'm the quarter of the way through. Got a long way to go. So yesterday, I go into the dentist. Every 6 weeks, I have to do a follow-up appointment, right? And yesterday, she goes in. She says, "This is a fun appointment. Not for me, not for you, but for the process." And I was like, okay, I
What
don't
the
really know
heck
what
does
that
that
means,
mean?
but all right. And she says, "I just want you to know we're going to make some adjustments. It's going to feel a little weird, and you're going to leave, and it's going to be different, but it has to happen for us to be able to complete this process." Cool, no problem. I don't know exactly what adjustment means, but sounds good. And then
she's
she's
going to make it tighter.
no, opposite. Make it looser. So she then starts doing this thing. I don't know what it is exactly, but it felt like one of those things where, they clean your teeth and it's like a one of those.
Oh, yeah, I hate those.
Starts doing that. All right, cool. Here we go. She's cleaning my teeth. She gets done with it, and then she puts what is the equivalent, at least for me, of a razor between my teeth. And I'm like, whoa, that is way bigger.
Yeah.
That gap is way bigger than it used to be.
Oh, God, my whole body just tensed up.
Dude, she took off pieces of my teeth to allow for more space.
Why? Why do you need that, man? You're working radio. What does it matter if your teeth are jacked up? Oh, golly.
So we're not just on it. Our beautiful faces are on.
She looks at me. She says, "I want you to know, I have had this treatment. It's gonna look weird for the next couple of weeks, but as your teeth adjust, they'll close up. This will allow for the space that's needed for you to be able to adjust the teeth as they're needed to."
Sounds
All right, cool.
uncomfortable.
So I get home, I look in the mirror. It looks like Luca's teeth, the baby teeth, they have gaps between them, right? It looks like that. It looks like I have little baby teeth.
Aw.
And I don't know,
I
man.
want
It
to say
did
so many
something
mean
in my
things.
head.
I want to say so many mean things.
Now I can't look at your
little,
smile.
Little baby teeth with
I'm
big
just
nose.
trying to see if I see it now.
Well, you can't see it with the mouth guards in.
Now take
but
them
once
out
I-
right now.
Once I take them out, you can definitely.
Yeah, let's get a little ASMR of those bad boys coming out.
I'll never
I hear it
forget
in the
when,
office.
when they had to remove my teeth, and before I got my implants put in, they were telling me at the dentist I was going to, they were like, "Hey, when we put these implants in, your teeth are going to crowd, so you should probably
That's what it is,
You
yep.
should probably get braces." And I looked at them and I said, "I'm 32 years old. I'm not getting braces anymore." And they were like, "Oh, well, your teeth are going to." I said, "I don't care. I've been married for 8 years. I've got 3 children. My wife loves me. So I'm good."
If you want the honest answer, it's because apparently, I grind my teeth at night. I wear
too,
a mouth
man.
guard for it, so that helps. But
Me too.
because of the way that my teeth sit, it will eventually cause a cavity. So this will hopefully prevent the cavity from taking place. Otherwise, I would.
So you're
going
to put razor blades through your teeth because you don't want to get a cavity.
Right.
Or if you get a cavity, it's filling and then you're on your way.
Yep, that's right. But then you have a bunch of other stuff, like eventually there's potential for a root canal. So yeah, try to avoid all that stuff.
You know, you should do like me, rip your teeth out. Not worry about it. I can't have cavities because my teeth are all fake. Well, not all of
Alongside
them.
Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. It's BK and Ferrario here on 101 ESPN.
that
Somebody on
was
the
in
text line
BK's
said,
head.
explaining the process might actually be bad for the business. Sometimes going in blind is good. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel. She basically said, hey, this is going to help you. It's going to make your teeth work. I was like, great. Sounds
Said
good.
BK
Let's do it.
equals baby Kylie. Oh, baby Kylie.
Somebody else says, does it make the head look bigger? Sorry.
No, the Adam's apple, though.
Nothing can do that. Coming up next, has the National League opened up enough for you to actually believe in this Cardinals team as a potential playoff contender? T-Bone will give you his
God.
bullish take on this next here on 101 ESPN. All right, Alex, don't look now. How many teams in the National League are more than 5 games over 500? We're 18 games into the regular season. How many today are more than 5 games above 500?
I'll say one. And it's the Dodgers.
I think it's 2. I think it's Dodgers and Padres, I think. Or maybe Braves. I'll say 2.
That's correct. Now, how many teams in Major League Baseball are more than 5 games above 500?
Oh, God.
4.
I don't think. I'm thinking 3. I think there's only
Might
one
be
in the
2
AL.
still. I mean, it's BK game. Might be 2 still.
I'm thinking 3.
It's
total.
2. Alex is right.
Dang
It's just
it.
the Padres and the Dodgers. Those are the only 2 teams in Major League Baseball that are at least 5 games or more than 5 games above 500. In the American League, the number 1 team right now in winning percentage is the Tampa Bay Rays. Yes, that Tampa Bay Rays team that we all saw.
We took 2 or
they're
3 from
number
them.
1 in the American League right now
We're so playoff.
in winning percentage. By the way, the Guardians are 5th as of today.
And aren't the Twins who sold anybody that could breathe last year at the deadline?
Correct.
And the Red Sox that everyone was like, they're aggressive, are 7-11.
Yep, that is correct. By the way, the Twins, who added a pitcher that we were all curious about in Taj Bradley, who has been awesome so far this year. So
He was the one that was DFA'd by Cleveland last year, wasn't he?
no, he was
Or am I-
traded to
who am I-
them by the Tampa Bay Rays.
Who was the guy that Cleveland DFA'd last year?
You're
Because I
thinking
brought
of,
him up.
I think 2 years ago, Giolito.
Somebody else. Anyway,
don't
go
know.
move on.
But yeah, so moral of the story.
McKenzie's who you're thinking of.
Yes, Tristan McKenzie. That's who it was. What's he doing?
Moral of the story, I'm not sure. We'll have to check that here in a minute. Major League Baseball is off to a really weird start. Nobody outside of the Dodgers and the Padres. You just saw what he's doing.
He's 7 earned runs and 5 2/3. So he's
No,
not
for
any good,
who?
guys. Cleveland still.
It's wide open. It's wide open across the league.
Yeah.
Which does present an opening for the St. Louis Cardinals. Alex, I want to get your thoughts on this, but T-Bone's the one that presented this idea to us, and so I want to get his thoughts first. Is it enough for you to buy into the Cardinals, T-Bone?
So I led this with a caveat with BK in the office, so he wouldn't yell at me. So I'll try it again
Also,
here.
but buy into what?
I understand it is a rebuilding year, so I think it's fair to hold that as your expectation for most of the season. But I can't help but wonder if there's going to be a point to where if the Cardinals continue to play the way they're playing now, which is 500 baseball, right? They may win a series, they may then drop one, they probably shouldn't, but I think they can float around 500 for the first month and a half, right? Basically about the point that they were last year, about mid-May. Is there at some point in this conversation to where you start to kind of change the tone a little bit of, I don't really care about the wins and losses. It's just, hey, as long as you have individual success, that's all I care about. Is there a point in the season where you might kind of start to go, okay, maybe they can make this interesting to be a potential playoff team? I'm not saying go out and win the NL. I mean, you've got the Dodgers. But could they be the Reds? We've talked about them in the past. Could they just kind of do what the Reds did, which is, we're trying for the whole year, and then the Mets fell apart, and we backed our way in to get killed by the Dodgers in the playoffs. That's kind of what I'm thinking when I think of this. Is there some point where that can change?
Yeah, win 4 of your next 6 series. And then I'll at least listen to it. But you posed the question in the office of buying, like going out there and
I just
adding
use
to
that
this
to help
team.
kind of alleviate my point of, hey, this is more of how I'm thinking of how you could get there.
And to be fair, like there's 2 different conversations to be had. Like I will buy into them being a team that can make the playoffs if you win 4 of the next 6. For people that don't know, Houston, Miami, Seattle, Pittsburgh, and LA. And if I'm not mistaken, you don't have a day off in that stretch.
You do for the next couple, but after
Oh, you do? Okay. You win 4 of those 6, I'm willing to be like, yeah, this team could get to the playoffs this year. In no scenario this season am I buying at the deadline or adding pieces. If they go on a run, sure, complimentary pieces are fine. I'm not going to go out there, I'm not going to go trade away my future for something that helps me temporarily. I'm going to just say, hey, we make the playoffs, that's great. These young kids get to go out there and prove it.
I'm in a similar boat to Alex. I'm looking basically a month down the road because, as Alex mentioned, you've got Houston, Miami, Seattle, Pittsburgh. Those are the next 4. But then after that, it's the LA Dodgers, Milwaukee, San Diego, and the don't call us Oakland, we're Sacramento, maybe Las Vegas Athletics. That's a really big stretch of contenders, or at least teams that want to view themselves as contenders. And if you're able to stay afloat in that stretch and you get to mid-May, you probably have a 6-man rotation at that point, your bullpen's looking a little different, and you get into that series against Kansas City, that I-70 series, and you're still in it, you're above 500, I'll take them seriously. at that point, I think you'd have to look at it and be like, all right, if you were able to do this, and that would suggest that the offense held up okay against the pitching that Seattle, Pittsburgh, LA, Milwaukee, San Diego have to offer. I mean, at some point I've got to buy in. And that would be a whole hell of a lot of evidence to suggest maybe this is more real than what we've given it credit. And maybe the National League is also worse than what we expected coming into the season. And I think you look around the league right now, man, there just aren't a ton of great teams. Milwaukee's batting, I think I said, like 180 in their last 7 games, and they've got a bunch of injuries. The Cubs have not been as good as expected so far to start out this season. The Pirates, I understand they're better than they were last year. That's not a great team. So this division is flawed, and this league is flawed. There's an opening here. Do I, like as of today, if I just had to give you my answer today, do I buy into it? No. I think they're in the 80 wins, somewhere thereabouts. I think that's kind of where they'll end up. Probably a little below, but that might be good enough to at least keep it interesting for a while.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. I mean, like, I will buy into this team pushing for a playoff spot if you can have success against these teams, because this stretch to me is full of playoff expected teams. And if you can go out there and win multiple series and keep putting on this show, then you're a month and a half in for me to be like, yeah, okay. But I think it's going to stay where it's been, to where you're just going to flirt with 500 all season. And by the end of it, you're going to be 3rd, 4th, or 5th in the NL Central. And I'm completely fine with that, because that is a success compared to what I thought was going to be a 100-loss team this season.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. If you had to have an answer today, I think this is the first month of the year weird-ish is happening, and that the Cardinals don't realize they're bad yet. And then when they do, things will go awry for them. But the reason I presented this as a question was I was curious to see if you guys would have any stance of, hey, man, this is a rebuild, never going to be a conversation, right? We're not even going to talk. Even if they flirt past 500 around the end of May, we're not going to talk about it because the Cardinals said this is a rebuild. That's why I asked that question, because I was curious if you guys would be saying we're not looking at wins and losses at any point this season. Because I would say that should be how you approach it until the team tells you that you have to pay attention to it. And that's why I think by the end of May is when you'll have that answer, because I think this stretches beyond just those series you guys were talking about, because after you wrap up with the Athletics, it's a huge swing of playing everybody in the division to wrap up the month of May.
I was curious to see playoff teams from a year ago. Where were they at in the standings at this point last year? And looking through it, now this is only 1 year of data, so keep that in mind. Every single team that made the playoffs last season was at least 500 at this point in the season. And the only teams that were above 500 at this point of the season that ended up missing the playoffs were the Giants, who at this point last year were 13-5, by the way. They finished the year 81-81. The New York Mets, who collapsed down the stretch last year, which allowed the Cincinnati Reds to ultimately get in. And then in the American League, you saw the Texas Rangers collapse, and the LA Angels were 9-8 at this point in the season, and ultimately they finished the year with a 72-90 record. So the Angels are the cautionary tale, basically, for what the Cardinals are right now and what they ultimately could be. Angels got off to a decent start, and then the rest of the year they were a 72-win team, and their run differential by the end of the season was -165.
Ouch.
It can happen fast.
Yeah, and especially when you have the pitching that we're seeing from the Cardinals, because that was the big thing for the Angels last year.
And when you got to play catch-up
Exactly.
for the next month.
And the Angels had a decent lineup, if I remember correctly, last year. Like, you've got Nito, you had Trout, who was okay last year. I think Soler was fine for them, but it was just they didn't have the pitching, right? And that's the thing that will drive if the Cardinals are able to do this. We can talk about the offense all we want. We've seen this at times, and we've talked about it. Pitching will shut down. A good pitching staff will shut down a good offense. The question for the Cardinals is, how's their pitching staff going to hold up when they go up against lineups like the Mariners, like the Dodgers, even the Athletics, who we had mentioned there, who've got a really good lineup? If their pitching is going to look like it has so far, yeah, this won't even be a conversation. But if it can stabilize, all right, maybe you've got yourself a chance.
Coming up in about 15 minutes, have we overestimated the Blues' young talent? Yes, we will talk about the Blues
until he calls another audible
in about 15 minutes. But next, 314-399-9646 is the Your Covered Service text line. It's time for Believe It or Not here in BK and Ferrario.
Believe it or not, I'm walking on air. I never thought I could feel so
Free, flying away on a wing and a prayer. Who could it be?
Believe it or not, it's just me.
314-399-9646. That's the Air Comfort Service text line for Believe It or Not.
You're yawning. Yeah, you're yawning over there, munching
man.
on some snacks.
Look, man, I'm always ready. I'm never not ready.
You guys give us a scenario. We will tell you if we are believing it or not here on 101 ESPN. All right, guys, believe it or not, Jordan Walker and Alec Burleson will both finish the year with more than 100 RBI.
Both?
Not.
Alec Burleson has 14 so far this year.
What
Jordan
the-
Walker has 15 so
I
far
don't think
this
they're going to
season.
have enough guys on base for those guys to both finish with 100 RBIs. So I'm going to say not.
Off
Believe
to a
it.
good start. 15% of the way there for
Hell
each
yeah,
of
man.
them, and
2
we're
weeks in,
only
and we are-
10% of the way through the season.
Hell yeah.
I'm thinking not for both of them. Maybe one surprises me. Two is a lot. I can't see it. The other thing, too, is I think you almost need, in my opinion, probably 30 home runs to do it. There's not a lot of guys. I can't remember what the number was. I looked this up last year, 2 years ago, because remember one of my bold predictions was Contreras would get 100 RBIs without 30 homers. There's very few players that have done that, and I don't know that Burley's hitting 30 bombs.
Who was the last Cardinal to have 100 RBI in a season? Was it Holiday?
Probably. If not him, it would be Pujols, then I would think.
Let's take a look. Last
Or no, Goldie
Cardinals
did
play-
it.
Goldie
Yeah.
did it. Goldie Arenado did it.
Oh, did he do it that same year with Goldie?
Yeah, Goldie and Arenado both had 100 RBIs in 22. Arenado also had 100 RBIs in 2021.
Really?
Those are the only guys to do it in the last decade.
I miss the good old days of Cardinals baseball. Goldie, Arenado,
When they were good.
Prime Albert at 40.
Albert had 137 RBIs in 06.
Oh,
Yeah. That one was
how
fun.
many did he drive in 11? I don't think he got 100.
He had 99.
Ah,
Holiday had 102 in 2012, 103 in 2010. Ryan Ludwig, the answer to every trivia question,
Yeah.
had 113 RBIs in 2008.
The 2004 Cardinals was fun. You had like 4 guys who had it.
No?
No?
Yep,
Edmonds,
maybe.
Roland,
Sorry, I
Pujols.
apologize. I answered that question way too quickly.
What else is new?
Walker-
Premature
I
BK over
assume
here.
Walker would have if you combined his numbers.
That's what
with
I was saying.
Colorado.
That's where I was
Yeah.
getting at. Walker had the 100 combined with the Rockies and the
Yeah,
Cardinals.
Roland, Albert, and Edmonds all did it that year, Alex.
Yeah, don't you let that Royals fan over there tell you what you knew was right. Yeah, don't you take that from him.
I don't know why we live in a
we
world
were
where what
playing
BK
competitive
says is
baseball.
correct.
They were losing 110 games
We
that
live, we
year,
live
all
in
right?
a world where what BK
Yeah, the
says is
Cardinals
right.
had the same number of losses as Albert Pujols had RBIs.
Jeez. Guys, believe it or not, 50% of the teams that won 100 or have 100 points in the NHL this season are going to get bounced in the first round.
Say that again?
50% of the teams that have 100 points in the NHL playoffs are going to get bounced in the first round.
Okay, so
There's 8 of them, and you can count 2 of them out because of how Gary Bettman loves the NHL playoffs, and 2s and 3s are playing
Toronto
against
and
each
Montreal
other.
have to play against each
And
other.
then Dallas and Minnesota have to play against each other.
Okay,
but
so
2
are
other
getting
teams.
bounced. So basically you're saying 2 teams with 100 points will get bounced in the first round that aren't playing other
I'm
teams.
saying 4, 2 are right, so I gave you 2 free spaces, and you get 2 more.
Okay. Not. T-Bone?
I'm thinking not as well. I don't think you're going to see 4. That feels like a high number, even with 2 free passes. So I would say not, but I'm guessing you're believing this.
I guess no 3 are going to get bounced because Boston plays Buffalo, and both have 100 points. So really, I'm asking Carolina loses to Ottawa or Colorado loses to LA/Anaheim.
That's,
I'm not believing this one as well. But I do think the next round, you're going to see probably more 100-point teams get bounced. I think Buffalo loses in the second round of the playoffs.
guys, believe it or not, J.J. Weatherholt will lead the Cardinals in on-base percentage this season.
Ooh, that's a fun one.
Right now, he's 4th, which is shocking.
He's going to have to hit for a better average. That's going to be the big
And I
thing.
think he will. I'll say believe this one.
I'll say not. I think Ivan Herrera leads them in on-base percentage this year.
I think it's going to be close. I believe it. Because I think teams are going to start pitching Herrera. I think Weatherholt's going to continue to draw walks while also bumping up the average. So I think he will, but it'll be close between him and Ivan.
Herrera, the last 2 years, has a 370 on-base percentage. That's just such a high bar to clear. If you think he's going to be similar to that, and he's at a 385, by the way, right now. He's just not slugging, but otherwise his numbers are still really
and JJ's
good.
at 354 right now without hitting for average, kind of just like how Herrera's up without hitting for average right now.
I just trust Herrera's to stay up there, whereas Weatherholtz, I think eventually could
That's fair.
drop a little bit in terms of the walk rate. All right, 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line for Believe It or Not. You guys give us a scenario. We will tell you if we are believing it here on BK and Ferrario. From the 443, believe it or not, Alex, the Blues will add 3 new players to their top 9 forwards in the offseason. 3 new top 9 forwards.
3, I'd say not believe it. I think they'll add 2, unless they're considering Carbonneau a new one, but I wouldn't since he's in your team.
Let's count him.
Okay, then yeah, I'd believe this one because I think they add 2 faces into your top 9.
Where are the 3 that are going to the top 9? Because I can come
Carbonneau would be 1, and then I think they acquire.
Well, sorry, I meant the spots that they
Who are you
take. So he
getting rid
takes
of?
out.
Okay.
So like Carbonneau for Cairo, I was thinking. If you're thinking like adding a Beniers, we'll
Druin
see as an
comes out.
example.
Druin comes
but
out.
Stenberg.
Stenberg or Bergeron. I thought took
Stenberg
that
might be a
spot.
4th line player next year. I hate to break it to people. He might be a 4th liner next year.
I just counted Bergeron as going into that spot for Druin.
Unless you find upgrades.
Yeah.
And I think they get an upgrade. I think they either find a way to trade for one or they draft one.
So I would
I'll say not. I'll say 2.
Yeah, I think it's 2. I think it's Kairou's spot in the lineup, potentially the second line center spot. The third one, if they're going to do it, would be Booch, in my opinion. But I don't think they're going to do that, and I don't know that they're upgrading on the third line wing over Bergeron.
I think Carbonneau goes on your 3rd line wing, and I think they upgrade at the center position and the wing position.
From the 636, believe it or not, the Cardinals will be in first place at some point in the month of May. Not.
I think this stretch is about to punch them in the face.
How far back are we now, gentlemen?
A couple games.
Oh, I'll believe this. They're only 1 game back. They could win like the next 2. Pittsburgh, Cincinnati lose, and
That's not
bada
May,
bing,
though.
bada
In the
boom.
month of May.
They'll get whatever. It'll be there by May.
Sure.
Believe it.
314-399-9646 is the
Right
Air
in the
Comfort Service
playoffs.
text line. From Vizini. Believe it or
pasta?
not, Jordan Kyrou will be traded this offseason.
Believe it.
And the Blues will receive, at best, a 3rd-round pick in return.
Oh, not believe it.
Wait for the question to finish over there.
Not believe it. You're not getting a 3rd round pick for him.
Yeah, you're going to get better than a 3rd round
You'll
pick.
get the equivalent of a 1st round pick.
Yeah.
From the 662, believe it or not, we'll see a relief pitcher win the Cy Young Award this season for the first time in more than 20 years.
Not believe it.
I know
all
what.
this buzz for the Mason Miller
Yeah.
thing. He's been amazing, but no.
Out of curiosity, what did Diaz finish at a couple years ago? Because remember, he had that unbelievable year that got him paid by Steve Cohen and the Mets.
I'll take a look for you.
But I think he finished, I don't even know if he was top 5 in
Ninth.
Cy Young. Yeah. So I don't think that's going to happen. I can't see Miller winning
You
the Cy
basically
Young.
have to have like a 0 ERA the entire season and not get hurt at all.
And people just learned that it's just more valuable to have a starter that throws like 180 innings like Paul Skeens and has like a sub 2 ERA than
Exactly.
a closer that throws
Who's the last
70.
reliever to win the Cy Young?
Gagne, right?
I think that's right.
Or was it K-Rod?
Did he win the Cy
Gagne,
Young?
2003.
I
No, yeah, K-Rod didn't win it.
I didn't think he did.
He had 55 saves, a 1.2 ERA, and 137 strikeouts in 82 and a third innings. And I don't even think those numbers get you the Cy Young in today's game.
Yeah, I'm with you.
From Benny Hill's snuff box.
I don't think you can say that.
Believe it or not, Blaze Jordan will be at 3rd base for the Cardinals at some point this year.
Not. What? Now he's a 3rd baseman? I thought he was a 1st baseman.
He's been playing
can play
third.
both.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, not. I don't understand this Blaze Jordan hype.
I don't think they're going to give up on Gorman at 3rd at any point during the season.
And it doesn't even matter if you give up on Gorman at 3rd.
No,
You got
Gorman-
Ramon Urias at 3rd.
Yeah, yeah.
And then Thomas Ajacey might be a 3rd baseman.
If Burley gets hurt, which knock on wood doesn't happen, maybe then you would throw him over there. And like if it's post deadline and you've traded Urias and Gorman gets hurt, then maybe you would see
Could
him.
also see Prieto get that chance
That's
too.
true, and he's been playing well. I think down in the minors.
Just like he's Luke and Baker. I don't know why
Yeah,
we're.
but he
I don't know
hits
why we're doing.
bombs.
Well, so did Luke and Baker.
He might get a chance. Like, I'm okay with him being on this
totally.
roster, but if he is, he's probably not a starter unless he earns it.
Yeah, he's in the Pozo role probably, except he can't catch.
and maybe he plays a little bit more than Pozo.
Coming up I'm not sure. Coming up in 15 minutes, we'll hit the rewind. But next, have we overestimated the young talent on this Blues team? We'll talk about that next here on 101 ESPN.
Tanner Hendrickson here, the Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. Blues wrap up the regular season tonight as they visit the Utah Mammoth. We'll have pregame coverage starting at 5:30 with Alex Ferrario. Puck drop at 6:30 with Chris Garber and Joey Vitale. And the Cardinals off today. They'll be back in action tomorrow night when they start a 3-game set at the Houston Astros. 7:10 will be first pitch tomorrow night. Kyle Leahy will be on the mound for St. Louis. The Sports Center update was brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin heating and air conditioning dealer.
Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. So, Alex, earlier today, we were talking about this in the office. The Athletic put together their list of the all-under-25 team. They had 0 Blues players on it. Now, the Blues that you would think, all right, maybe they could get consideration for something like this include Dylan Holloway, Jimmy Snuggerud, Philip Roper. Do you think there's anybody else that should have even been in the conversation?
No.
I think it's those 3.
Yeah. People ask about Hofer. Hofer's 25, so you can't be in this.
And it's under 25 is the criteria here. When you hear those names, my immediate reaction is, man, I'm a little surprised none of them made it. I would have thought somebody, one of those 3 would have been put on it. And then you look at the list, and it's like, all right, so Cole Caulfield in this scenario is a third-line winger for this all-under-25 team.
Well, I can make an argument of how they put the wings together with Tim Stützle and Connor Bedard on the top line.
Because they're centers? Is that what you're saying?
Well, 1, yes, but 2, I don't think they're top. You're going to put those 2 guys over Matt Boldy? No.
You know my thoughts on Tim Stützle.
Well, yes, but that's fine. And you convinced me on that, so I'm with you on that one. But no, I'm not putting Matt Boldy or Cole Caulfield below Tim Stützle or Connor Bedard.
Regardless, they're all above Snuggerud and Holloway, right?
As they should be. Like, I looked at this forward list and I said, yeah, I wouldn't pluck anybody out of here for Snuggerud or Holloway. But I also think the caveat I'd put on this is they missed some time. Now, it's not a lot of time. They were bad early on in the season before they were injured. But, like, I look, because the first thing I did when I saw this list was I saw Lucas Raymond. And I'm like, Lucas Raymond, 25 goals, 76 points, and a +1. That's good. I think a full season, a full healthy season, Dylan Holloway's putting up those numbers. Jimmy Snuggerud's putting up those numbers. So, to me, it's just...
We think Jimmy Snuggerud's a point-per-game player now?
Yeah.
Don't look at me.
We're there?
Don't look at me.
What do you mean we're there? Yeah. I think that guy's putting up 30-plus goals next season.
And 80-plus points?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I think that line is going to be a really good line next year.
Are you new here? He's been big on Snuggerud over the last week.
I don't know why you're surprised by that. That line has been the second best line in the National Hockey League.
It's been great. He's at 50 points this season.
I think he's been great. I think this line's been great in a time when it hasn't necessarily mattered.
Yeah, well, also played the
another
first...
warning.
Also played the first, 30 games before his injury? Or even between without playing on a top line with Thomas and Holloway.
Yeah, listen, if he's able, in his last 30 games, he has 35 points. He's 14 goals and 35 points in his last 30 games. By the way, it's a +23 over that stretch. He's been remarkable. I don't know if I'm ready to say he's a point-per-game player. That's just not, it's rare. There aren't a lot of them in the NHL. And he's going to have to continue to keep his game at that level and then exceed it for a full season. Hey, man, if he is that, then the question that I'm about to ask is, like, no, well, you got your answer.
Yeah, you knew the answer from me on this one. So really, this is you two that can talk amongst yourselves.
Touche. The question that I was going to ask about this is...
Turn your mic off then. All right.
All right, so there are 13 forwards listed. None of them play for the St. Louis Blues. There are 7 defensemen listed. None of them play for the St. Louis Blues. Have we overestimated the amount of young talent on this team? If you can make a team of 20 forwards plus defensemen under the age of 25, and none of them are represented by the St. Louis Blues. Steve-O?
I say yes. I think we have. Because as they talk about shifting this core, and I think it comes down to what we seem to think the Blues are going to do. And what I mean by that is if they were going to shift this core to the under, 25 that they put on the cutoff, or 26, the Blues have been saying, if you're going to shift to that core and not say we still want to be competitive, I would say, okay, that feels about right. The problem, though, is anytime I hear them talk we're thinking about shifting the core, we're kind of retooling on the retool, but we still want to be competitive. And I look at that and go, man, if you don't have one of these guys that pop up on the all under 25 list, how competitive can you really be when you're especially top heavy and relying on them? So that's why I would lean towards, yes, we are over kind of hyping them, right? We are kind of expecting them to be better than maybe what is realistic for them going into next year. So my answer to your question would be a definitive yes.
Alex?
Yeah, I don't think we're overhyping those specific guys. I mean, Broberg's the one that I don't think I think he could be on this list. I don't think he is on this list because he just hasn't performed the full season, and some of that might be the team. But like I look at Jackson Lacombe and say, I'd probably take a Broberg over Jackson Lacombe right now. But Broberg can't be on this list by next year, nor can Holloway, because they're going to be over the age of 25. But I'm not overhyping those guys because I think what we've seen from that line is real. This, to me, isn't what Holloway, Kyrou, and Shen did last year. This, to me, is three guys that have not played together in their careers, and it's like untapped potential of what Robert Thomas brought out from both of them. And I think what you're seeing from Jimmy Snuggerud, there's only more to find with this. This isn't Jordan Kyrou at 26 years old putting up 37 goals and being like, this might be the best you're going to get. I think there's a lot more in the tank with what Jimmy Snuggerud is. It just comes down to, can they stay healthy? And that is, I can't predict that. If they're healthy, I think you're talking about three guys that can be point per game players.
If Snuggerud does what you're saying, he's a superstar.
I agree.
Because this is the list of players age 22 or younger. So the players that are at his age, 22 or younger, that have put up 30-plus goals and 80-plus points in a season in the last decade. Macklin Celebrini did it this year. Wyatt Johnston did it this year. Before then, it was Jack Hughes, Tim Stützle, come on, Austin Matthews, Connor McDavid, David Pastrnak, Sebastian Aho, Braden Point, Mikko Rantanen, Nathan McKinnon. End of list in the last decade. It's 11 players in the last decade that have put up, at his age, 30-plus goals and 80-plus points in a season. It is incredibly difficult to accomplish, and every player basically outside of Stützle is a superstar after they do something like that. So that's why, like, I would just bet on the under. I don't think he's likely to do that, and if you don't have a player in that ilk of being the 30-plus goal scorer, 80-plus point producer at this age, yeah, I think we probably slightly overestimated what they can be. That being said, though, like with Broberg, I don't think we've overestimated him. I think he is a legit top pair defenseman. Now, number one, I don't know, but I'm somewhere close to that. I think this just speaks to the amount of young talent there is among the defensemen in the NHL right now. Like, Matthew Schaefer is a superstar, man. Lane Hutson's amazing. Brock Faber's awesome. Thomas Harley is great. And so there's just so much competition for these spots right now at that age. It speaks to where the league is right now, I think, more so than speaking ill of what Broberg has become as a player for the Blues. So I think it's more of a forward conversation to me than the defense.
And I think on the defensive side for Broberg, like, you just look, all of these guys have the offensive upside that I just don't think Broberg's going to get to. Maybe he does. I doubt it, but you just don't have the offensive weaponry there. But Broberg, in my opinion, is a different defenseman because you got more of the defensive side of it that can contribute points. But, and look, it might not happen next year, but I think within the next 2 years, if they keep that line together, I think those three guys are point per game players.
Wow. If they do, that would be... Yeah.
When you were out, I made this comp on our show for Monday because I found it on Saturday with pregame. It's taken Montreal 3 seasons to play Caulfield, Suzuki, and Slavkovsky together consistently from start to finish. This is the third season, and all three of those guys, I think, are 100 points, 50 points, and then point per game player in Slavkovsky. So I think if you keep that line together and you let them build that chemistry and they stay healthy, yeah, I think those three guys are all point per game players.
Yeah, those guys are 101, 88, and 73 in terms of their points.
So Slavkovsky's not their point per.
Yeah, but I mean, close enough.
Yeah.
If you get
50 goals,
if you get 30 goals and 75 points next year out of one of those two, that's basically the equivalent to what you're saying.
And again, no coincidence that since the Olympic break, that has been the line that has only been better than the Blues. And again, watching that line played over 700 minutes together 3 years ago, over 750 minutes last year, and then 720 minutes, I think, this season at season's end. So you put a line together for 3 years and let them grow together, you're going to get that type of outcome.
Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. We'll hit the rewind next here on 101 ESPN. Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. You got BK and Ferrario here on 101 ESPN. If you guys missed anything from today's show, be sure to check it out on the podcast page, 101ESPN.com. And the free 101 ESPN app is where you go to find it. It's all sponsored by
Schaefer Door Company.
You can always check us out on YouTube, youtube.com/101ESPNSTL. That is where the latest edition of the Last Minute Blues podcast can be found. You can also find a new edition of the Redbird Report later on this afternoon. More than 2,000 of you have already watched the latest edition of the Last Minute Blues podcast. Hopefully we'll see something similar for the response today on the Redbird Report. Alex, before we get out of here today, it is the final game of the regular season. Alex, with pregame coverage for Blues versus Mammoth right here on 101 ESPN beginning at 5:30. What are you looking for in this one? Anything in particular?
This is going to sound super snarky.
You got an hour pregame. What do you got for us?
This is going to be a real snarky. A loss is what I'm looking for, because a win means you're probably going to be selecting 11th overall. We'll talk about it on pregame, the scenarios that are in front of them. But basically, you need to lose in regulation for a shot to potentially draft 8th, 9th, or 10th overall. Utah, I don't know what they're going to do. They're not skating either this morning. They might scratch all their guys. Honestly, I could see them play all their guys to prepare for the postseason. But it's very likely you're going to be selecting, at least pre-lottery, the 11th overall pick. But what I'm looking for in this one, honestly, there's nothing else I'm looking for. Now it's just a matter of get to the offseason. You've seen everything you need to see at this point.
Cardinals off today. They are 10-8 through the first 18 games of the regular season. We'll certainly talk more about them tomorrow as they head to Houston to take on the Houston Astros. Good time to get them. They've got a lot of injuries on the pitching front. T-Bone, your Illini, you said there's some, maybe not news, but speculation on the roster front there?
Yeah, so it sounds like they've retained 4 players from last year's squad. The other one they're trying to work on is Stojakovic, and it basically sounds like it's come down to Illinois or the NBA for him. And I think he's trying to get an idea of where he would kind of slot in right now on the draft board. And then depending on how that falls, I think that kind of impacts their pursuit of Blackwell, the guard from Wisconsin that they're trying to go after.
On the Mizzou front, it's been awesome. #1 recruiting class in America when you combine both the portal and their high school rankings. Right now, you look at their starting 5. I'm guessing as of today, Jason Crow Jr. would be your starting point guard. And then you probably have Jameer Jones starting at shooting guard, Trent Pierce at the small forward position, Jalen Carey at power forward, and Bryson Tiller, the latest addition to the Missouri roster, formerly of Kansas. First ever player to transfer from Kansas to Missouri. He is now in the mix. You've got like 5 former 5-stars on this team. You've got legit blue chip talent up and down the lineup. It's getting pretty impressive, and there's a lot of pressure now on Dennis Gates to make sure you get this thing right. You can't just get the talent. Now you've got to go win with it. I do still think they are in severe need of another point guard. We'll see what they're able to do there. Maybe a T.O. Barrett reunion will be in the cards. Maybe it's somebody that we haven't heard of yet. We'll talk about that whenever we get more news on it. He's Alex. That's T-Bone. I'm BK. It's 1:57. Your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. We will talk to you guys from the Centene Community Ice Center tomorrow. The Fast Lane is next here on 101 ESPN.